The question remains, how many more temples, villages and government properties will fall prey to this relentless land grab? Is there a deliberate silence on this alarming takeover?
Now let's tell you what's the current situation and whether at all there has been any sort of resolution. Here are the reporters who have got us these reports, starting with Gursimran from Jammu. Then we'll move to Sandeep, who's joining us from Ahmednagar in Maharashtra. Ajay Dubey, who's got us that report from Lucknow. And Ashwin, who's got us that report from Munnabam in Kerala. First to you, Gursimran. What's the current situation as far as the report that you have filed? Has the government really intervened? Is there any solution? The same question goes to everyone in terms of what's really happening in the area from where the report has been filed.
Sishavan, for now there has not been any intervention by the Waqf board or by the Jammu and Kashmir government with regards to the apathy that we have seen, that how the family, the Hindu family is forced to leave the land of the Waqf that they have been living in for more than 7 decades. So they have said that their ancestors were living in the area, they have been living in this same area, but now all of a sudden the officials from the Waqf board, without serving any of the notice to the family, they have been asked to vacate as soon as they can and they be moved to a place that is in the outskirts, some 20 to 25 kilometers from the place where they are actually living in. They are saying that not only their livelihood but also the schools of their children, everything is here and they cannot go all of a sudden to a place where they do not have any shelter to live in. They said that their resources are also limited and they do not have even a single penny to invest in constructing their home at a new place. And also the lady Rani Devi, who has lost her husband and also her younger son, who was only source of her income, she is also shattered completely because she do not know what to do. The BJP is saying that this is being done deliberately ahead of the amendment of the Waqf board laws. Reason being that this is an attempt to install the Muslim families in the area so that once the amendment is done, the benefit can be given to the Muslim families. But these Hindu family, this is completely shattered because all of a sudden hell has fallen on them as they do not know where to go and what lies next for them, Shavan.
Well, in fact, let me quickly move to my colleague Sandeep, who's joining us from Ahmednagar right now, getting us the latest details. Sandeep, with regards to the temple land that is now disputed with the Waqf board essentially claiming that it belongs to the dargah, what's the latest that you're picking up?
See, as far as the history of that very location is concerned, remember the Kanafnath temple belonged to Shankar Bhai and his wife, and that was sanctioned before the British era, in fact, Shavan, and the Hindu community have all the papers regarding this, following which a conversion took place, and now Shankar Bhai and his family members were converted from Hindus to Muslims. Now, as per the Waqf law, anyone can donate the land who is from Muslim community, but ultimately when they tried to sell that very land and when they went into the court said that they, the family members are the caretakers of that very land and they cannot sell, neither they can do any, development on that very land. But ultimately, by the time passed, in 2005, the Muslim community and the illegal resident residing near the temple
we seem to be losing that line with Sandeep. We'll try and reconnect. Let's also quickly move across to Kerala from my colleague Ashwin is sending us that report from Munnabam. Ashwin, there is a larger story that basically emerges from the state of Kerala, because it turns out that there are multiple petitions that have already been filed, and there is a larger story that is emerging. What is it that you can tell our viewers right now?
Sure. Of the Waqf board, the documents that I have, that Republic has access. When we've got about hundreds of these pages, and one of the startling revelation was that the entire movement, in fact, started of claiming this land began when the PFI mouthpiece, a newspaper called as Tejas, which is now not in circulation, it stopped in 2018. However, a series of such Waqf claim was done by this PFI mouthpiece back in 2008. based on this, an entire movement had started. Today, as per the following the mouthpiece direction, what we see is that 30,000 acres have now been claimed by the Waqf board. Now, that is one of the most shocking fact in this entire matter, that the inspiration for claiming this land comes from the PFI mouthpiece, a large series which they did, stating that such parcels of land across the state of Kerala comes from are part of Waqf board. Now there are at least 14 cases.
We seem to be again losing out with Ashwin too. With the audio line, we'll try and reconnect with him in a short while from now. Let's move to Uttar Pradesh, where my colleague Ajay Dubey has got us this report from Lucknow, where you have a temple land which has now been claimed by the Waqf. Ajay, what more details are you picking up in terms of the litigation that has essentially taken place in this case?
Shravan, it's a very surprising story from Lucknow. It's a 250 years old temple. This temple is very old, and this Kubde Baba Mandir, this person who established this temple, it's 250 years old story, and the local residents, they are telling they got to know post 2016 that this premises is related with Waqf. Waqf is claiming that this is their property. So local residents are very angry, and one more interesting part of this story is that the family, a Muslim family, a father and his daughter, they went to court against Waqf board, claiming the legal documents that this is the property of Hindu religion. This is the property of Kubde Baba legacy. So right now, in a legal terms, this is happening in court right now. This Muslim family is fighting against Waqf board. But the important part is that it's a 250 years old temple. How can Waqf claim it as their own property? That's what residents of local area asking this question.
Well, thank you very much, Ajay. I'll just request you to stay on with us as we also now shift focus to Hyderabad. In the outskirts of Hyderabad is yet another case where you have land that has been allegedly usurped by the Waqf board. Now, the dichotomy here being that you have the same very land where people are now paying taxes for a very long period of time. In fact, a document that has been accessed by Republic TV goes on to indicate that Waqf land grab that's essentially taking place. In fact, this is coming in from the outskirts of Hyderabad, which is roughly about a few hours drive from Hyderabad, where Waqf essentially claims that multiple properties actually belong to them. It turns out that residents of that area who've spoken to my colleague Aneri say that they have been paying taxes and municipal taxes all this while. So how exactly does the Waqf essentially claim that it belongs to them? I'll go across to my colleague Aneri, who can perhaps also show us the documents. Aneri, if you have the document with you, why don't you help us understand what is it that the residents are claiming and what's the position that the Waqf has essentially taken, while we also show the report that Aneri filed a short while back.
Well, that's right, Shravan. But definitely shocking details which we have been seeing coming from Boduppal area of Hyderabad, which is like in outskirts area. And also at the same time, we have got that document. We'll just try and get that document once again with us. We also have people there, near about 10,000 residents who have been staying. There are 10,000 houses in this particular area. And also at the same time, we have been seeing that the Waqf has claimed near about 37 survey numbers are being claimed by the Waqf. And also we'll just try and get a word from people here. You have been staying here. आप कितने टाइम से यहाँ पे रह रहे हैं और वक्फ बोर्ड जो है वो कब से ये प्रॉपर्टी को क्लेम कर रहा है?
मैडम, मैं 10 ईयर से इधर रह रहा हूँ. मैं कॉलोनी में, श्री सैनार कॉलोनी में रह रहा हूँ. मेरा कॉलोनी में लगभग 300 पीपल स्टे है मैडम. अभी 10,000 लोग हो गया है वक्फ बोर्ड में. लेकिन हम परचेस करने के टाइम पे बिफोर वी हैव सीन ऑल द डॉक्यूमेंट्स थ्रू रजिस्ट्रेशन ऑफिस EC, all clear madam, and registrations also done very well, and we have construction G+2 and 3, 4 like that. We have commissioner also given the permissions, and RDO office from they have given permissions, and
you have got permission from the municipality.
Yes.
But now Waqf is claiming is what?
Yes madam, the 1989 gazette they are showing one gazette. The government should have done mistake, I think so, but they are not ratifying that gazette. but the people are suffering. 10,000 families are suffering now, and they are came on road. But we are trying to all departments we have gone through, madam. We have went.
Shravan, as you can see, this is the very document which I have in my hand. This is the Andhra Pradesh Gazette 1989 Gazette, also 1989 Gazette, and also this mentions the survey numbers. I'll ask my video journalist to just pan around and show that these are the survey numbers which are mentioned, and also this claims that this is the Waqf property. As you can see here, it is mentioned that the details of the Waqf property attached to Waqf is what this document shows. So near about a total of 37 survey numbers are mentioned. So that means that there are around 10,000 residents who are staying in this area, but they also say that they are paying property tax, and also municipality tax is being paid by them since the time of their registration. It's been around a decade that they have been staying here. We'll just try and get a word from one more resident who is with us. So what do you have to say? Because the Waqf is claiming the properties here, but you all here say that you are paying property tax.
True, ma'am. Ma'am, we have got MRO report which says from 1954 Khasra Pani. It is not a Waqf property. They have given in clearly who are the pattedars and names of the pattedars. Then we approach SRO. SRO, Sub-Registrar Office. Surprisingly, they have given a letter saying it is not included in 22A section, which is a mandatory section for prohibition of any land. And it is not included. And on an oral instruction, they have stopped the registration. We have approached PMO, we have approached Central Work Commission when Mukhtar Abbas Naqvi sir was there. We have communicated the letters to Waqf Board just with one geo. And very surprising, madam, in 1977, District Registrar has given us occupancy right certificate. The surprising fact is after 1977, after 12 years of that is 1989, Waqf Board has issued a geo. How come a pattedar occupancy right certificate issued by DRO is become a Waqf Board property now? And we have taken legal advice before, madam, whatever is required to buy a plot, before whatever survey has to be done, we have done all that, madam. Like EC, we have taken encumbrance certificate of 30 years. We have linked documents before we bought the plot. And on surprisingly, they are saying that it is pattedar property. This is 1977 ORC copy, sir. And surprisingly, after that, they have claimed that it is Waqf property. And with just one geo.
Since when are they claiming that it's Waqf property?
2018, they have issued a geo. Surprisingly, madam, prior to that, they should have asked that it is our property. And you will be surprised, ma'am, the roads, colonies, everything has been developed. This was actually Gram Panchayat. From Gram Panchayat, it has become municipality. And then from municipality to become municipal corporation. And along with that, the roads, everything has been developed. People have developed. Now they say it is Waqf property.
So Shravan, as you can see very clearly here, there are people who say that they are paying property tax, but they are near about 37 survey numbers which are being claimed by the Waqf Board, and they also the residents here have approached the government as well, the previous government, that's the BRS government, and also the current government of the Congress party, the Congress government here in the state, and also at the same time they have approached the central government as well. But now the people here say that since 2018, the Waqf is claiming these properties to be allegedly theirs, but then they say that they are not able to either sell the property or also they are not able to get any sort of development works in this particular area, is what the residents have to say here.
Well, thank you very much, Aneri. In fact, this report that Aneri has essentially filed is from the outskirts of Hyderabad, and acres being claimed by the Waqf Board. Similar is the situation from the other states too. In fact, ladies and gentlemen, this deep investigation that's been carried out by the team of Republic reporters essentially indicate what's really happening on the ground. And not just one state. It's not just in the state of Karnataka. We've seen several complaints being filed from other states too. And that is exactly why, once again, the government basically emphasizing the need for bringing in the amendment. That's all that we could pack in this edition of This Is Exclusive. We'll be back tomorrow with more exclusive stories.
QS and THE, the world's foremost university rankings organizations, have ranked Amity amongst the top 3% universities globally, making it among the very few Indian universities to be included in both rankings. Yet another top ranking for Amity University.
China announced a dramatic detent this week with a border patrolling agreement on Ladakh, which led to first in 5 years meeting between Prime Minister Modi and President Xi on the sidelines of the BRICS summit in Russia. Does that mean we can normalize? If yes, how do we capitalize? Can we trust the Chinese, or do we just learn to live with an expansionist bully even as we build a stronger economic muscle? Also, in the penultimate week of the campaign, what's with this Christian agenda in the United States polls? Join me this weekend on your favorite deep dive show, Get Me Right, only on Republic TV.
Hi there, welcome back to your weekly rendezvous with your favorite perspectives show, Get Me Right. This week was one of dramatic developments on India-China front. Prime Minister Narendra Modi and President Xi Jinping met for delegation talks on the sidelines of BRICS summit in Russia for the first time in last 5 years. This followed a breakthrough announcement of border agreement by both sides just a day before the event in Russia. Time for a deep dive on what's happening on the Eastern Front and what we need to do. Simply put, can we trust the Chinese? Also, just a fortnight left for the big day when America elects its next president. In this episode, I bring to you an interesting aspect of US politics, the role of religion and the Christian agenda that looms large, much larger than the Hindutva debate in our politics perhaps, which influences a great part of the vote. Would that boost Trump's chances on November 5? Let's get going. The cold desert passes of eastern Ladakh turned hot in June of 2020 when a Chinese military formation came into the Galwan Valley and created a situation that led to clashes and death of 20 Indian soldiers. Chinese suffered casualties too, but as true friends of Pakistan and having imbibed some of their values, the Chinese refused to accept their martyrs. Remember what Pakistan did during Kargil. Their martyrs. Our martyrs, of course, were bestowed gallantry awards, including the second highest wartime award, the Mahavir Chakra, to Colonel Santosh Babu, who led those troops. The Galwan military maneuver was in breach of existing agreements between India and China on the undecided and undemarcated border, which goes by the name Line of Actual Control or the LAC. It is not the official recognized border per se, just a working arrangement till the time that both sides decide on a mutually acceptable frontier and ink it. Would that ever happen? Unlikely in near future. And let me explain why. The Ladakh border patrolling agreement might have been guided more by the optics of BRICS summit that happened in Kazan, Russia this week, rather than any real change of heart in Xi Jinping. Like it happened in September 2022 when the disengagement at the Gogra and Hot Springs had happened just ahead of the SCO summit in Uzbekistan. At that time, Xi was also looking ahead at the National People's Congress slated for a month later when the constitution change was effected to make him president for life. The Chinese strategic mind might have thought, like then so now, that softening India and to have Prime Minister Modi in the frame along with Putin and Xi would make India a suspect friend in the eyes of the West. For all we know, it might have been done in tandem with Russia, if not outrightly at Putin's nudging. Whatever the details of the agreement, facts on the ground would take some more time to change. The disengagement is complete. De-induction of troops might follow in whatever time. At the peak of tensions in the summer of 2020, I had engaged with almost all key interlocutors involved in India's defense posture to counter the Chinese breach of trust. Bottom line picture that came out based on those interactions. 1. Like we were taken by surprise by the Chinese maneuver in Galwan, so were the Chinese taken aback by our military response. The Chinese generals were not expecting that India would mobilize to this scale. 2. Everyone thought that we were in for the long haul this time. Nobody even then thought that the crisis would blow over soon. The troops would stay put in that cold desert for an indefinite period and hence the logistics would be managed accordingly. 3. The Indian defense establishment came together to max out on all military lessons. The Modi government followed with a whole-of-government approach, which has translated into the kind of infrastructure building along India's northern frontier that was unimaginable till before Galwan. You have to only visit one of those border villages or the roads built by the Border Roads Organization to believe what I am saying here. The highway through the Umlingla Pass to Demchok is testament to the resolve that the courage of our Jawans would be matched by the resources needed to keep them well supplied. A look at more lessons. The mirror mobilization of Indian Defence Forces in Ladakh had many firsts, taking an entire brigade with tanks to areas like Chushul, sling-flying tanks to forward locations using Chinooks, deploying heavy artillery in the Kailash ranges, innovating on durable heating systems to keep our Jawans warm through the harsh winters are some of the takeaways for which we could thank the Chinese. Many of these things would have happened over a period of time anyway. But Ladakh's standoff provided an immediacy which was grabbed with both hands by the national security leadership. The skills acquired mean we are an even more battle-ready army than before. The deployments have cost around rupees 100 crores per day, peaking to rupees 200 crores per day in winters. This was just for the boots on the ground. Remember, we also had our biggest Air Force mobilization in recent memory. If the Chinese blinked, it was in good measure also because the Indian Navy deployed to max in the waters of Malacca Straits and beyond to the South China Sea. It was a warlike mobilization with warlike costs, even if no bullet was fired. That must have been one of the objectives of the Xi-headed Central Military Commission, to inflict debilitating costs during the wobbly pandemic period economy. You know what? In the case of Pakistan, when General Pervez Musharraf sabotaged the Lahore peace process, Nawaz Sharif could say that Pak Army does not report to civilian government. In the case of China, the People's Liberation Army takes its guidance from the Xi-headed Central Military Commission. So obviously Galwan was orchestrated by the Chinese president. If this was the intent, what should we be doing? China sees India as a present competitor and a potential future threat that needs to be kept on tenterhooks, even taken off balance occasionally. This much is explained by the now clear, if unstated, policy of not resolving the border question. From Ladakh now to Doklam in 2017, to Chumar in 2014, and Depsang and Demchok earlier, all fall in a pattern of what has come to be known as the Chinese salami slicing strategy, going back all the way to 1959 and before. Not that India is singled out for this strategy. China shares land borders with 14 countries to its east, west, and north, and has maritime boundaries with another 6 in the South China Sea. Leave aside those in Central Asia, where it has made some adjustments aimed at earning goodwill at the expense of territorial claims. China has standing border disputes with a majority of these 20 neighbors. And you might be surprised with Russia also. Sometime in July of 2020, our ideological friend and brother, Putin, was also not spared by Xi. A tweet by the Russian embassy showcasing history of the Vladivostok port drew flack from Beijing, with official Chinese media countering it by claiming that till 1860 the famous Far Eastern port town was in fact Chinese territory. In 2018, the Chinese embassy of the southern Pacific island state of Tahiti rented a residence for the ambassador. On completion of the term of the lease agreement, the owner wanted the property back. China flatly refused, offering to buy out instead. Apparently, they had built some snooping infrastructure, radars, etc., and did not want to give up on those despite the Tahiti government offering alternative sites. Now, who bullies with a private citizen of a tiny country? Seems only China can. China has claimed entire Mount Everest as belonging to Chinese territory, scaring poor Nepal. And in June 2020, the same time that it launched the Ladakh misadventure against India, China claimed the Sakting Wildlife Sanctuary in Tashigang district of Bhutan as its own. Imagine, the place is lower than Tawang in terms of latitude and gives you an idea of Chinese browbeating of even the smallest of its neighbors. How does India steer this fundamentally altered relationship now? It is unlikely that there is going to be a short-term solution to this. India has shown to the world how to engage with the bully. Even as our defense forces look the dragon in the eye in Ladakh, the Modi government has been calibrating an aggressive economic equivalent of guerrilla war on the Chinese business interests. India set an example by banning TikTok and later changing rules to constrain Chinese investment into our country. Parallel push for manufacturing, particularly in cutting-edge technology like semiconductors, has seen dynamics slowly changing on the ground for China. At 4.6%, the GDP growth recorded this quarter was slowest in the last 1 year for China. Some in China's policy community already see a threat in India's rise, and containing India on the economic side might be their best bet. The rise of Chinese manufacturing in the 1970s was a black swan event for the United States, putting it on the road to deindustrialization, which has resulted in today's Thucydides trap that the USA finds itself in with China. And increasingly, it seems like a losing battle. The Chinese thinkers realize if India rises, they might be facing their black swan with us at this moment. Maybe all this was also weighing heavy on the Chinese military minds to agree for the border detente. Economic survey of this year spoke of tackling the adverse balance of trade situation where India imports much more than it exports to China by turning Chinese trade with India into FDI. The suggestion was endorsed by government's think tank, the Niti Aayog. Industry bodies like the CII have been demanding a review of regulation to ease Chinese investments and visas to allow faster infusion of both capital and expertise. This week's detente should help mobilize opinion in favor of such a move. While a US $5 trillion economy is a low-hanging fruit, we must think bigger and see ourselves as the second largest economy in the world by 2047. Prime Minister Narendra Modi understands that, thus putting India as a developed country by our 100th year of independence as one of the national objectives in his August 15 speech from the Red Fort last year. Between the Europe war and the Taiwan crisis and what's happening in the Middle East, global forces are aligning in a manner that it would not be easy for the Chinese to be the engine of growth for the world on a sustainable basis. The diversification makes India the right candidate at the time. We must take the tide. Moving on. There was much brouhaha this week when the Chief Justice of India, Justice D.Y. Chandrachud, spoke of drawing inspiration from God while sitting in judgment over the Ayodhya case, which ultimately paved the way for construction of the Ram Temple in the birthplace of Lord Ram in 2019. Inauguration or Pran Pratishtha of the same temple months ahead of the general election this year was seen as BJP's attempt at encashing the strong Hindu sentiment around the development. The BJP never denied it, so shouldn't we. But this controversy occasioned a thought in my mind. Is religion's intersection with politics typical of India in any manner? The secularism debate has in some ways determined India's politics since independence. Partition itself in 1947 was along religious lines, just that India under Gandhi and Nehru chose sanity. The US presidential election campaign is in the last phase, November 5 being the results day. Voting by mail is happening as we speak and might have covered substantial ground, though it might go down to the wire in swing states and swing counties. This week, Republican presidential candidate and former President Donald Trump appeared before a Catholic audience delivering a roast at the Alfred E. Smith Foundation Memorial Dinner. The Al Smith Dinner, as it is called, is an annual pin-up in New York City's calendar of events to raise funds for Catholic charities supporting children of various needs in the Archdiocese of New York and hosted by the city's Archbishop. It is organized in honor of Al Smith, New York's 4 times governor who rose through poverty to become the first Catholic nominated for president by a major party. He was Democrat nominee in the 1928 elections and lost to Republican Herbert Hoover. I would recommend a watch for the dinner speech by Trump to understand in detail and with amazing hilarity the influence religion has on American politics. Listen to some of it.
I didn't like Biden very much, and now I like him quite a bit. And now I say that she's much worse than him. He was a much better candidate than her, actually. And when we hopefully win, dispose of her, I like her a lot, but right now I can't stand her. It's true. I can't stand her. I've never liked people that I was competing against. When you do, a lot of bad things happen. And we are doing well. By the way, the votes are starting to come in. You got to get out and vote. And Catholics, you got to vote for me. Just remember. You better remember I'm here. And she's not. I could have done that too. If you really wanted Vice President Harris to accept your invitation, I guess you should have told her the funds were going to bail out the looters and rioters in Minneapolis, and she would have been here, guaranteed she would have been here. But many of you are Manhattan liberals from the media and the Democrat Party. I always say the Democrat, Chuck doesn't like that, he likes Democratic, and it sounds much more beautiful, the Democratic Party. I always say the Democrat Party because it sounds worse. It is true, he likes Democratic. Why don't they just change the name? This way, it is Democrat. But I must say I was shocked when I heard that Kamala was skipping the Al Smith dinner. I'd really hoped that she would come because we can't get enough of hearing her beautiful laugh. She laughs like crazy. We would recognize it any place in this room, and all polls are indicating I'm leading big with the Catholic vote, as I should be.
Did you hear that? Catholics should vote for Trump because he came to their dinner, which rival Kamala Harris spurned. In fact, there are reports that after the kind of virality Trump's Al Smith dinner speech caught, Kamala vented on her campaign manager, Julie Chavez, for having advised against the participation. The Democrat candidate supposedly told Chavez that if she loses on November 5, her absence from the Al Smith dinner should be to blame. But that's how the political divide plays out along religious lines, or religious divide along political lines in US politics. While delivering another stump speech when Kamala faced shouts of "Jesus is our Lord" from a section of the crowd, she hit back by saying, "You are at the wrong rally then." Listen in.
With the intention that they would undo the protections of Roe v. Wade, and they did as he intended. Oh, you guys are at the wrong rally. No, I think you meant to go to the smaller one down the street.
The Democrats, of course, constitute the liberal secular pole of American politics, and for Kamala to say what she said on being interrupted buttresses claims of her being far left of the Democratic establishment. When Kamala was obstructed with "Jesus is Lord" jibe, she was speaking on a contentious issue in American politics, and one that is directly connected with Christianity and the Bible, that of Roe v. Wade. It's a 1973 Supreme Court ruling which allowed women the freedom of abortion. Since then, Roe v. Wade has been a looming presence in every presidential election as an issue of women's right to choose. This election also, the most combative part of the Trump-Harris debate on ABC, was the one where the two sparred over their respective positions on abortions, with Kamala accusing that if he becomes president, Trump would orchestrate a national ban on abortions. Despite his conservative position, Trump took a centrist line, saying he would let the states choose. Incidentally, the Supreme Court of the United States overturned the Roe v. Wade in 2022, ending the constitutional right to abortion, ironically during a Democrat administration. A biblical debate there on a core Catholic belief that censures abortion as against life. As a conservative, Trump has been at it for a while. Speaking at West Palm Springs, Florida on July 27, Trump announced that he would be setting up a federal task force on fighting anti-Christian bias, and its mission would be to investigate all forms of illegal discrimination, harassment, and persecution against Christians in America. The fact that a presidential candidate has to make such a promise shows the salience of majority Christian sentiment in the United States. In fact, identity politics is as deep-rooted in the US as in any other part of the world, including India. And the so-called liberal space politicians are neck-deep into it. Listen to Obama.
So if you don't mind, just for a second, I'm going to speak to y'all directly and say that when you have a choice that is this clear, when on the one hand you have somebody who grew up like you, knows you, went to college with you, understands the struggles and pain and joy that comes from those experiences.
Did you hear that? Obama, that epitome of liberal sentiment, not just in the United States, but around the world, is asking blacks to vote as blacks for Kamala Harris, who grew up black, and not as citizens of the United States who should be free to choose based on how their bread is buttered. I recall a speech, in fact, Barack Obama delivered in his early years as president at the Al-Azhar University in Cairo, Egypt, where he mentioned how Azan influenced his spiritual being during his growing up years in Indonesia. Obama later used that speech and the occasion to make his Muslim outreach for the Middle East conflict. Though it's a different matter that a more transactional Trump got much greater success in the region, his efforts culminating with the Abraham Accords, which have withstood the ongoing war between Israel and Iranian proxy forces from Hamas to Hezbollah to Houthis for over a year now. On identity politics, there's a group called White Men for Harris that seeks to create an impression that Kamala Harris is not about blacks, Hispanics, Mexicans, and migrants alone, that she is as much about the mainstream white male America. So much for all the modernism and postmodernism. Role of religion in American politics goes back to its founding years. President Abraham Lincoln issued Proclamation 97 in the year 1863, appointing April 30 every year as the day of prayer and fasting. The presidential decree recognizes the authority of God over affairs of men and nations, and goes on to ask citizens to abstain from their secular duties for a day and dedicate themselves to the Lord in prayer. The same Lincoln, in his second inaugural address, described the two warring sides of the Civil War thus: both read the same Bible and pray to the same God. In God we trust, says the dollar, and don't we love it? Thanks for watching.
जम्मू शहर के बीचों बीच दलपतिया मोहल्ले में एक परिवार जो कि 1947 से यहाँ पर रह रहा था, वक्फ की तरफ से अब उन्हें कहा जा रहा है कि इस जगह को खाली किया जाए।
1947 दे रह रहे थे, पहले दादा रहता था, फिर हमारा सोहरा रहता था, अब हमें।
मेरे पीछे आप जो बिल्डिंग देख रहे हैं ये पुलिस हेडक्वार्टर है, पुलिस मुख्यालय है, और वक्फ बोर्ड ये दावा करता है कि ये जो है कब्रिस्तान की ज़मीन पर बना हुआ है और इस पर वक्फ का दावा है।
ये तो सिर्फ शिवालय का ही मंदिर है। ये बहुत पूर्वजों की तरफ से हमारा चला आ रहा है मंदिर, और इस पे वक्फ का कोई सवाल ही नहीं उठता है।
It was in January 2022, the community members of this particular church got a shocking news. The news that the land that they have been owning for decades does not belong to them.
No man can believe this now, because we were living here peacefully for decades and for generations. Our total life is stuck here.
Israel has confirmed that it has completed a series of targeted strikes on military sites in Iran.
I can now confirm that we have concluded the Israeli response to Iran's attack against Israel.
Israel understood that it should react this time. The message was very clear to Iran. If you will now strike back, then Israel the next time can also target the oil facilities and the nuclear facilities.
Director, the taste of success.
QSMT achieved. The world's foremost university rankings organizations have ranked Amity amongst the top 3% universities globally, making it among the very few Indian universities to be included in both rankings. Yet another top ranking for Amity University.
A nationwide Waqf emergency. Waqf gets active across states. Temple land, farmland, complete grab. Watch The Burning Question tonight at 9 p.m.
Since 2014, there have been 1,357 incidents of terror in Jammu and Kashmir, which have resulted in casualties. As these attacks are increasingly desperately as the cover of winter nears, and the Pakistanis will be doing their classic and stale and pathetic trick of trying to push through terrorists en masse into Kashmir, which has been largely peaceful since the blood business of Azadi has been shut down in Jammu and Kashmir, and the lifeline of Islamabad has been asphyxiated. We need to adopt a much more aggressive strategy militarily to counter Pakistan. If we deliberate at a time like this, we can finish the job in days, not even weeks. We are calling the global shots. We are part of the global power play, and I think the time for the final solution is here.
जम्मू शहर के बीचों बीच दलपतिया मोहल्ले में एक परिवार जो कि 1947 से यहाँ पर रह रहा था, वक्फ की तरफ से अब उन्हें कहा जा रहा है कि इस जगह को खाली किया जाए।
1947 दे रह रहे थे पहले, दादा रहता था, फिर हमारा सोरा रहता था, अब हमें
मेरे पीछे आप जो बिल्डिंग देख रहे हैं ये पुलिस हेडक्वार्टर है, पुलिस मुख्यालय है और वक्फ बोर्ड ये दावा करता है कि ये जो है कब्रिस्तान की जमीन पर बना हुआ है।
It's 8 p.m. and you're watching live and breaking with me, Shavan Sen. Ladies and gentlemen, our focus is right now on 300 bomb threats that were allegedly received by multiple airline carriers in India over the last 14 days itself. In fact, for the first time, you've had the government now putting out an advisory. In fact, this goes out to the social media platforms as far as their role is concerned. All this and much more in this edition, but up first, let's take you through the headlines we're tracking at this hour. Nationwide emergency over Waqf. This after multiple reports now coming in.
Determined effort on our part to stand our ground and make our point. And this would only happen because the military was there in very, very, unimaginable conditions to defend the country.
A day after disengagement in Depsang and Depcho, Jaishankar credits military diplomacy for India-China LSE breakthrough. Back-to-back hoax bomb threats to airlines, IT ministry issues strict guidelines for social media platforms.
हिंदू समाज की एकता ये संघ के जीवन व्रत है। हम इसका आग्रहपूर्वक कहेंगे और उसके लिए करेंगे भी। और हिंदू एकता लोक कल्याण के लिए है। हिंदू सबके लिए सुख प्रदान करेगा।
General Secretary of the Rashtriya Swayamsevak Sangh, Dattatreya Bhosbole, backs for Hindu unity, says there are efforts to divide Hindus. Israel pounds Iranian military targets. Meanwhile, India reiterates call for restraint after Israeli strikes on Iran. In just about a fortnight, 300 threats were allegedly received by multiple airline carriers in the country. While there is no clear picture as to who exactly is behind these bomb threats, whether at all this is to do with any particular group or there are individuals or these are just hoax calls. But remember, what has essentially happened is that with every passing day, there are threats that are being received by the airlines. In fact, right now, we're being told that one arrest has already been taken place in the Delhi airport hoax threat case, where a resident of Delhi has been arrested. Now, this after the Delhi airport had received a bomb threat. Now, DCP IGI has essentially indicated that this arrest has been made after they received a tip-off. Let's just take you through the details that are essentially emerging right now. Let me also go across to my colleague Piyush Ori, who's joining us on this broadcast, getting us the latest details. Piyush, what more details do you have?
So yes, Shravan, today there was a hoax call that was given by this person identified as Shubham Upadhyay. Now this person was a person who had just passed his 12th examination and was unemployed. In order to create some mission, he had given this hoax message to Delhi airport saying that there was a bomb placed over there. However, taking into consideration that what we have been witnessing over several bomb hoax messages that have been received by several prominent airlines, the Delhi police was vigilant and they was able to get hold of this person identified as Shubham Upadhyay. Now, he has been charged under sections of 351D of the Bharatiya Nyaya Sanhita and several sections of the airport security. Important to note over here that this is not related to the bomb hoax messages that have been received by several prominent airlines, which continues to occur even now and has not ceased till date. Having said that, there are still some elements who are trying to create mischief, and this latest case is just one such example in which there are several people who are trying to create mischief and trying to create panic. And in this process only, the Delhi police was able to get hold of a person named as Shubham Upadhyay, who was trying to take advantage of the panic which has been caused because of the bomb hoaxes that are being received by several prominent airlines. So yes, example which has been set by the Delhi police, and they've also now given a formal statement on it. In fact, DCP Usha Rangnani has also mentioned that they should not be panicking, and they should not be panicked by all these fear mongers which are trying to create hoax messages.
Well, in fact, these are the latest visuals. Piyush, I'll just request you to stay on with us, and also perhaps you could take out the time to just fix your frame right now. Let me just quickly take our viewers through the latest that we're getting in. Meanwhile, our reporter comes back live to us in a short while from now, getting us the latest details. This arrest has taken place from Uttam Nagar in the national capital. These are the latest pictures coming in of the suspect who's been arrested. DCP IGI has also now confirmed that this arrest has been made. We'll just put out more details of the preliminary information that we have with regards to the role of this person and how exactly this threat was actually issued. Let me first once again take a look at these visuals. Let's go full frame with the visuals that are now coming in of the arrest that has been made. Now, just a quick recap. Now, as far as Delhi police is concerned, 6 FIRs have already been registered. Mumbai police has also registered a few. In fact, Mumbai police just about a few days ago arrested one person from Chhattisgarh. Now, there is still no clarity as to whether at all there is any particular group that is actually behind these threats, because we're talking about over 250, roughly about 300 threats that have been received in the last fortnight, and there is still no clear picture. However, having said that, you've had the Ministry of Information and Technology reaching out to the social media platforms and once again reiterating the fact that there is a certain role that these social media platforms should essentially play while tackling this current issue. Let me see if we can go across to my colleague Piyush Ori, who's joining us on this broadcast. Piyush, is there a larger picture that is emerging right now, a narrative in terms of who exactly is behind it, or these are isolated cases that are emerging right now?
So, Shubham, what I can tell you is that this latest arrest by the Delhi police of this person identified as Shubham Upadhyay is a kind of isolated case in which this person was trying to take advantage of the panic that has been caused by the hoax messages that are being given to several prominent airlines by a group which is still being investigated by not only the Delhi police but several other intelligence agencies as well. You rightly mentioned that following the bomb hoax messages that have been received, several of the flights, including Delhi, have been 8 FIRs that have been registered by the Delhi.
We seem to be having a problem with the audio line with Piyush Ori. Just a quick recap before we move on to the other story coming in. Now, this is the first arrest that has been made by the Delhi police in the multiple FIRs that have been registered so far. Having said that, no clear picture really emerging about who exactly is behind the threats that have been issued. Over 250 we're talking about that multiple airlines have received. Shift focus now to the other story now coming in. External Affairs Minister's first response has now come in with regards to the disengagement. Now, after India and China agreed on the disengagement along the line of actual control, you've had the External Affairs Minister, Dr. S. Jaishankar, crediting the entire breakthrough agreement with China to the Indian Army. In fact, this is what Dr. Jaishankar says, that Indian Army worked in a very, very unimaginable condition along the line of actual control. Listen in to what the External Affairs Minister had to say. In fact, Indian Army essentially indicating that by the 29th of this month is when they would be completing the disengagement process.
If today we have reached where we have, there are two reasons for it. One, a very determined effort on our part to stand our ground and make our point. And this would only happen because the military was there in very, very, unimaginable conditions to defend the country, and the military did its part and diplomacy did its part. If today we have reached where we have, there are two reasons for it. One, a very determined effort on our part to stand our ground and make our point, and this would only happen because the military was there in very, very, unimaginable conditions to defend the country, and the military did its part and diplomacy did its part.
Well, shifting focus now to the story that we have been tracking through the day. Ladies and gentlemen, this is about a deep investigation that's been carried out in what we are calling a Waqf emergency. This is about the bizarre claims that have been made by the Waqf board, and it turns out that in multiple states across the country, a similar situation has taken place, where the Waqf is essentially making the claim that they have right to land which essentially does not belong to them. Now take a look at this report that has been filed by my colleague Ajay Dubey. This is with regards to the Waqf board making claim of a land that belongs to the temple authorities.
After farmers in Karnataka alleged pressure from the local administration to register land with the Waqf board, a similar story has come to light in Uttar Pradesh. It is alleged that the Waqf has claimed multiple land chunks and properties in Lucknow. According to sources, the properties for which the Waqf is claiming ownership rights includes a Hindu temple. The Lal Shivalay Kubre Baba temple is situated in Lucknow's Sadatganj Mamala. Locals have claimed the temple, which has been in existence for more than 250 years, is now on the radar of the body that calls itself the custodian of land and properties donated by the Muslim Brethren for charity.
It's a very surprising story in Lucknow where 250 years old temple is being claimed by a Waqf board. They are telling it is their property. It's been from 250 years old temple, and the important part is that local residents, they are very aggressive on this. They are telling that they are watching this temple from their childhood. They have heard stories from their forefathers about this temple. There used to be a Kubre Baba who used to do worship over there. He established that temple. That's the story we are getting from the local resident. But now after 2060, suddenly the Waqf board started claiming its own property to that land. That's what local residents are saying. They are telling they're very angry on this. They are very upset with this. And even the important most part is that the Muslim family who went against Waqf board to the court to establish that's not a Waqf board's property, but it's a property of Hindu temple. They are fighting this case against Waqf board. So this is a very surprising story happened against the Waqf board in Uttar Pradesh.
Locals allege that the plot on which the temple stands was sold to departed gangster turned politician Mukhtar Ansari's wife Afsa Ansari in 2016. They claimed some plotting activity was carried out after the transfer of land, but the matter has since been in court pending arbitration.
ये तो सिर्फ शिवालय का ही मंदिर है।
आप बताएं, आप क्या कहेंगे इसके लिए? ये बहुत पूर्वजों की तरफ से हमारे चला आ रहा है मंदिर, और इसपे वक़्फ का कोई सवाल ही नहीं उठता है।
हमको तो ये मैम सर अभी कल ही मालूम हुआ, मोहल्ले वाले बता रहे वक़्फ है, वक़्फ है। वक़्फ कुछ नहीं है, जिंदगी भर से देख रहा हूँ मंदिर में पूजा हो रही है, पूजा पाठ होती है, कोई भी त्योहार होता है, सब इसमें 5-6 मंदिर बने हुए हैं, सब भैरव जी का मंदिर, काली जी का मंदिर, दुर्गा जी का मंदिर, हनुमान जी का मंदिर, इतने मंदिर हैं। हम अपने बचपनों से देख रहे हैं, मेरे बाप दादा देखते आ रहे हैं, बाबा तक की हमारे बाप यहाँ आते थे जब बैठते थे, भंडारा होता था। मैं बचपन में इसमें भंडारा खाया हूँ। ये कोई वक़्फ की संपत्ति नहीं है, हिंदू समाज की धार्मिक संपत्ति है।
Earlier, your channel had exposed a potential land grab by the Waqf in Karnataka after several farmers alleged pressure to give up land they had rightfully owned and tilled for generations. Amid the Waqf's bid to lay claim to properties on a whim, the anxious question crossing several minds is, what's next on their radar?
So that's not the only place where we have come across a similar complaint. In fact, moving to Jammu and Kashmir, where you have residents now coming out in the open complaining about the fact that suddenly you have the Waqf board laying claim to their land. In fact, the residents have been in that area since 1947. But now, a situation has essentially come up, and if it goes the way Waqf wants, then they would be rendered homeless. Take a look at this report coming in from Jammu.
The Waqf terror seems to be spreading fast. After alleged land grab attempts by the Waqf board in Karnataka and Lucknow, a Hindu family has now claimed that they were asked to vacate their Jammu residence. The family, which resides on Wazarat Road in the Delapattia area of Jammu, said that they were asked to fold up their belongings and leave without notice as their house falls on Waqf land. Anxious and clueless after being told to give up the house that they have known to be theirs for generations, the desperate family has now turned to the Omar Abdullah government for intervention. The family said that the house has belonged to them and their forebears since 1947.
हम 1947 ਦੇ रह रहे थे। पहले हमारा सोरा रहता था, फिर हमारा दादा रहता था, फिर हमारा सोरा रहता था। अब हमें आगे बच्चे हैं हमारे। 1947 के हम किराया देने को तैयार हैं, बंद किया है। हमें यही गवर्नमेंट अगे चाहते हैं कि आएंगे इधर ही 5-5 मरले जगह दी जाए, सारा गुजारा जेड़ा होया जाए।
एक बेटा ही इसकी देख लो, डेथ हुई है। ये मैं तो बिल्कुल नहीं रो रही हूँ, मेरा तो कोई आया ही नहीं है।
नहीं, हमको कोई कारण नहीं बताया गया, बस यही कहते हैं दफ्तर में जाते हैं परसों हम काम लगाएंगे, हम जेसीपी लाएंगे, खाली करवाना है आपको, यहाँ से खाली करके आरएसपुरा भेजेंगे। हमने बोला आरएसपुरा में हमारा कोई गुजारा नहीं है, हमने वहाँ पे रहना नहीं है, हमारा यही पे जन्म परम हुआ है, हमारा फ्यूचर यहाँ पे है, स्कूल हमारा यहाँ पे है, तो हमारा खाली करके गाँव जाने का और कोई गुजारा नहीं।
हमें कुछ नहीं बताते, फोटो शोटो खींच लेते हैं, हमारा यहाँ ही फैसला किया जाए।
कोई रिटर्न नोटिस दिया गया?
कुछ नहीं दिया गया सर।
सिर्फ बोलते हैं?
बोलते हैं हमें आपको जगह दे देंगे, आरएसपुरा कमरा डाल देंगे, कुछ कर देंगे, पर हम यहाँ ही रहते हैं। 47 से हमारा गुजारा नहीं चलेगा। गांव में, शहर छोड़ के गांव में कैसे काम करेंगे? हम रडी शाबा लगाते हैं, रडी शाबा लगा के पापा दिहाड़ी का काम करते हैं, हम कहाँ पे मकान बनाएंगे?
The BJP meanwhile has weighed in on the matter, claiming that a larger conspiracy was afoot in the valley to resettle minorities in properties rightfully owned by Hindus.
कि आज तक आज़ादी से लेकर के आज तक देखें तो अपीजमेंट हुई है। उसी आधार पर जब मनमोहन सिंह सरकार 2014 में जाने वाली थी, उस वक्त की बहुत सी ऐसी प्राइम प्रॉपर्टीज़ को वक्फ बोर्ड को दे दिया गया। इरेगुलरिटीज़ हुई हैं, उसी को सुधारने की ज़रूरत है। सरकार इसीलिए जो उसको अमेंडमेंट बिल ला रही थी, तो समय समय पर जहाँ भी होता है वो क्लेम करना शुरू कर देते हैं, जो कि लोगों को भी कहीं ना कहीं आहत करता है।
2 भाई रहते हैं, एक विधवा जो माँ रहती है, उसका घरवाला कब से मर चुका है। अंतिम संस्कार के लिए पैसे नहीं थे, वहीं पे उन्होंने, जो थाने वालों ने जहाँ पे उसको बॉडी थी वहीं पे उसका संस्कार कर दिया। तो गुनाह ये है कि ये गरीब है, ये यहाँ पर अपनी कोठी नहीं बना सके, क्योंकि शुरू से जो 1947 में और भी फैमिलीज रह रही थी, जो वाकफ में रह रहे थे, उन्होंने पक्के मकान बनाए, फिर 2-2, 3-3 मंजिला बनाए, उनके परिवार आगे बढ़ते गए। लेकिन ये एक गरीब फैमिली थी जो आगे अपने आप को इतने सक्षम नहीं अपने आप को पा सकी कि ये अपना मकान यहाँ पे बना सके, और वाकफ को ये लगा कि ये गरीब है, इनको यहाँ से निकालो। अब मुझे नहीं पता किसकी यहाँ पे नज़र है।
As yet another Waqf row erupts, there are fears of a pattern emerging to register properties to itself, even as the draft legislation proposing wholesale changes to how it operates is under the consideration of the JPC.
IMD has said that the cyclone Dana has weakened into a well-marked low-pressure area and is likely to further weaken to become insignificant. Cyclone Dana hit the Orissa coast on Friday, uprooting trees, snapping power lines in several areas, and reports of deaths coming in from West Bengal. 2 more persons died in West Bengal due to Cyclone Dana, taking the toll to 4. A civic volunteer died on the spot where he allegedly touched a live wire in Purba Bardhaman district, an employee of the Howrah Municipal Corporation, was found dead in a waterlogged road in Tantipara. It was suspected that he died due to drowning. One labourer was killed while another sustained injuries after a portion of the under-construction building fell in Bihar's Asupur. The police reached the site after receiving information about the incident that took place at the apartment.
आसिफपुर अंतर्गत दानापुर थाना क्षेत्र के अंतर्गत आस्तिक कंस्ट्रक्शन कंपनी के निर्माणाधीन अपार्टमेंट से 2 मजदूरों को गिरने से जख्मी हो गए हैं। घटनास्थल पर पहुंचने पर पता चला कि उसमें से एक मजदूर, जिसका नाम मनोहर सिंह है, उनकी घटनास्थल पर ही मृत्यु हो गई थी, जबकि दूसरे मजदूर को क्यूरिस हॉस्पिटल इलाज के लिए भेजा गया था। इलाज के क्रम में दूसरे मजदूर, जिनका नाम भुलावन पंडित है, उनकी भी मृत्यु हो गई है। पुलिस घटनास्थल पर कैंप कर रही है, अग्रिम कार्रवाई की जा रही है।
4 people were killed in a house fire in Haryana's Gurugram. Police reached the spot as soon as word reached about the fire that occurred on Friday evening. The fire brigade and ambulance were also called to the spot. 3 members of a family were killed in a head-on collision between a car and a pickup truck in Rajasthan's Anupgarh today. The accident took place near a bus stand on the National Highway 911. Well, a major statement was made by the General Secretary of the Rashtriya Swayam Sangh, and this was made by Dattatreya Hospale. This is with regards to Hindu unity. Once again, remember, this is exactly what the position that the RSS has taken after multiple statements were essentially made from the India Alliance members too. Listen to what the RSS General Secretary had to say.
लोगन कुछ में कटेंगे बटेंगे, जो भी कहें, स्पिरिट क्या है, हिंदू समाज एकता से एकात्मता से नहीं रहेगा तो इतिहास कहता है। अब हम तो कहते हैं जब जब हिंदू भाव को भूले आए विपद महान, भाई टूटे धरती कोई मिटे ही धर्म संस्थान, ये हमारे गीत है। तो उसको आजकल की भाषा में ऐसे आपने जो कहा वैसे हो सकता है। तो मुद्दा क्या है, स्पिरिट यही है, समाज की एकता एकात्मता। हम जाति भाषा प्रांत के अगर पिछड़ा भेद से हम करेंगे तो हम कटेंगे। तो इसलिए एकता आवश्यक है किसी भी राष्ट्र के, राष्ट्रीय एकता। दूसरी बात यह है कि हम ऐसे बनाए रहें तो समाज में इसके लिए केवल एक उपदेश से होता तो अब तक हो जाता, प्रयत्न करना पड़ता है, उसके लिए आचरण में लाना है। अच्छी बात है, आज बहुत सारे धार्मिक और बाकी क्षेत्र के लोग इसको अनुभव से समझ रहे हैं और उसका स्वागत भी कर रहे हैं। इसलिए हिंदू समाज की एकता ये संघ के जीवन व्रत है। हम इसका आग्रहपूर्वक कहेंगे और उसके लिए करेंगे भी। और हिंदू एकता लोक कल्याण के लिए है, हिंदू सबके लिए सुख प्रदान करेगा, दुनिया में किसी भी देश के संकट के लिए। तो इसलिए हिंदू एकता आवश्यक है, अपने को भी बनाए रखना, बचाए रखना और दुनिया को भी मंगल करना। इसलिए हम हिंदू एकता चाहते हैं, इसमें कोई दो मत नहीं, दो राय नहीं। और हिंदुओं को तोड़ने के लिए शक्तियां काम करती हैं, तो उससे आगाह करना पड़ता है, उसके लिए सावधानी रखनी पड़ती है। वो कई प्रकार की शक्तियां हैं, तो हिंदू को जाति के नाम पर तोड़ेंगे, विचारधारा के नाम पर तोड़ेंगे और किसी नाम पर जोड़ेंगे, तो उसको हमें सावधान रहना पड़ता है।
Even a call for unity is something that hasn't really gone down well with the India Alliance members. They have found a way to politicize this entire issue too. Listen to what Samajwadi Party leader had to say after the General Secretary made this comment.
देखिए, लोकसभा चुनाव में जब से भाजपा की ताकत कम हुई है, संख्या कम हुई है, भाजपा हताश है, निराश है, परेशान है, इसलिए वो तरह तरह के नारे गढ़ रही है। वो कहते हैं कि बटोगे तो कटोगे, लेकिन वो पिछड़ों को, दलितों को आरक्षण नहीं देंगे। वो कहते हैं कि बटोगे कटोगे, लेकिन महिला सुरक्षा पे कुछ नहीं बोलते हैं। वो कहते हैं कि बटोगे कटोगे, लेकिन महंगाई पे कुछ नहीं बोलते हैं। वो कहते हैं बटोगे कटोगे, लेकिन पेपर लीक पे कुछ नहीं बोलते हैं। वो कहते हैं कि बटोगे कटोगे, लेकिन बेरोजगारी पे कुछ नहीं बोलते हैं। वो कहते हैं कि बटोगे कटोगे, लेकिन अग्निवीर पे, किसानों पे कुछ नहीं बोलते हैं। तो भारतीय जनता पार्टी की कथनी और करनी में बड़ा फर्क है। समाजवादी पार्टी समझती कि पीडीए तैयार है, पीडीए के लोग तैयार हैं। भारतीय जनता पार्टी को हराने के लिए किसी भी नारे का पीडीए पे कोई फर्क पड़ने वाला नहीं है।
ने एकदम साफ पैगाम दिया है, पूरे देश को संघ परिवार जो है एक नफरत का बाजार बना दिया है। उसमें हम लोग जगह जगह मोहब्बत की दुकानें खोल रहे हैं, ताकि हमारे मोहब्बत की दुकान से हम मोहब्बत बांटें। हम लोग को देखने को मिल रहा है काफ़ी मोहब्बत बट रही है देश भर में। अब वो मोहब्बत आरएसएस वाले, संघ वाले, भाजपा वाले भी वो मोहब्बत लेते जाएं और उस मोहब्बत को आगे बांटते जाएं, तो हिंदुस्तान एक खूबसूरत जगह फिर वापस बनेगी। हम उस राह में काम कर रहे हैं। मोहब्बत उनको लेने से कोई जो है मना नहीं किया।
Well, in fact, the BJP has now lashed out at the India Alliance members as far as this message of the RSS is concerned, which has now been politicized by most of the India Alliance members targeting the RSS.
ये हिस्टोरिकल फैक्ट है कि अगर किसी भी क्षेत्र के आधार पर, भाषा के आधार पर, जाति के आधार पर, मजहब के आधार पर अगर किसी भी प्रकार का विभाजन होता है, बंटवारा होता है, तो निश्चित तौर पर हमको एक बड़ी त्रासदी झेलनी पड़ती है। इसलिए व्यापक हित में एकता का होना आवश्यक है। ये हिस्टोरिकल फैक्ट है। हमने इस देश का विभाजन होते हुए मजहब के आधार पर देखा है। इसलिए किसी भी प्रकार का विभाजन न होने पाए, क्योंकि अगर बटेंगे तो कटेंगे। एक हिस्टोरिकल फैक्ट है। इससे आंखें नहीं चुराई जा सकती हैं। आंख मूंद करके अंधेरा नहीं हो सकता है। इस सच्चाई को स्वीकार करना ही होगा।
It's a nationwide Waqf emergency. Waqf gets active across states. Temple land, farmland, complete grab. Watch the burning question tonight at 9 p.m.
QS&THE, the world's foremost university rankings organizations, have ranked Amity amongst the top 3% universities globally, making it among the very few Indian universities to be included in both rankings. Yet another top ranking for Amity University.
There have been some developments in the Gyanvapi case, where earlier today there was a representation which had been made a few weeks back, a few months back, by the Hindu side, saying that there should be a survey of the entire Gyanvapi complex. The entire complex, ladies and gentlemen, the Hindu side wanted a very deep archaeology-based, scientific-based analysis of whether there was a temple where a mosque now exists. And that has been rejected today. The Varanasi court said that at this point of time, you cannot have a very deep survey that goes into the entire area when the matter is still before the Supreme Court. What did the Hindu side want? The Hindu side wanted a full survey, an extensive survey in the settlement plot 9130 on your screen out there, which is basically where the Gyanvapi premises are. And the Hindu side says that why don't we just use the highest levels of scientific techniques to find out whether there was a temple where there is now a mosque, because this area is very significant to us. It has a lot to do with...
It's a nationwide Waqf emergency. Waqf gets active across states. Temple land, farmland, complete grab. Watch the burning question tonight at 9 p.m.
Nationwide emergency over Waqf for arbitrarily claiming land after Karnataka. Now Madhya Pradesh, Uttar Pradesh, Maharashtra reports similar cases.
Determined effort on our part to stand our ground and make our point. And this would only happen because the military was there in very, very, unimaginable conditions to defend the country.
A day after the disengagement in Depsang and Depchok, Jaishankar credits military diplomacy for India-China LSA breakthrough. Amid back-to-back hoax, bomb threat to airlines, IT Ministry issues strict guidelines for social media platforms. General Secretary of the Rashtriya Swayamsevak Sangh, Dattatreya Hosable, backs for Hindu unity, says there are efforts to divide Hindus. Israel pounds Iranian military targets. Meanwhile, India reiterates call for restraint after Israeli strikes on Iran. Well, there has been an escalation in West Asia after 200 ballistic missiles that were launched by Iran just about a few days ago. Israel has now retaliated, what they called a precision military strike that was carried out late last night. In fact, this morning is when the operation was completed. It turned out that Israel basically targeted military bases of Iran. The situation has only ensured that it has escalated to such an extent that you have had the United States of America warning Iran of not carrying out any retaliatory attacks. And if it does so, then they would come in full support of Israel to defend themselves. Where does this essentially put both the countries right now? Whether at all there is any sort of end game or not. First, let's take you through what really happened in the last 24 hours. And what is it that Israel and Iran both have to say on this entire issue? Israel says that this was a retaliation. Iran has warned Israel, saying that this is a violation of their territorial integrity and sovereignty. First, let me take you through which are the areas that were basically targeted and the significance of these very places. A snapshot of the attacks that were basically carried out in Tehran, in and around Tehran. It is the ISRC, ISA, IRGC Aerospace Headquarters, IRGC's, the Revolutionary Guards Command and Control, their AF, Artish Ground Forces, Aerospace Industries, and Fajar Industrial Group. Now, I'll try and explain it to you as we move through this particular map that you see right now on your screens as to what was the target for the Israeli Defense Forces. Let's move on. First, with regards to what you see right at the top, which basically indicates Tabriz missile base. Remember, the Tabriz missile base was the same very missile base that was used to carry out or open the launch pads for the attack that was carried out sometime back. This was what the Iranians essentially indicated, a revenge of the assassination of Hezbollah chief Hassan Nasrallah. Let's move to the other places. Kermanshah missile base is the other missile base that was also targeted. In fact, let's first begin with this. This is the Imam Ali missile base, where you have an underground missile silo complex, reported launch site of the October 2nd attack. So it does appear that there was a pattern, there was a plan that the Israeli Defense Force had to only target those very areas which were largely used by the IRGC to carry out the attack on 2nd of October. Let's move to the others. Apart from the Imam Ali base, Arak, which was also again reported launch site. Now, Arak is somewhere closer, what you see right now on your screens, not very far away from Tehran, which was also carried out. After Arak, let's move on. Shiraz is the missile production facility. That too was targeted. Shiraz that you see right now on your screen. Now, that is a little far away from Tehran. Shahrud Space Center, that's the launch facility of the IRGC. So clearly trying to neutralize the military bases here. Imam Khomeini Space Center, launch facility for the Iranian Space Agency, that too was targeted by Ishfan. This is the missile production facility, that too targeted by the IDF. Let's move on. Haji Abad Missile Base houses the solid propellant ballistic missiles assumed underground. That's again the underground facility. Chabar Space Port, that's the port for Iranian Space Agency. Now this is something that the Indians would also be extremely concerned about, because this is again a project which is closer to India. And remember, this is the reason why perhaps some of these what you see right now is exactly what the IDF says was largely used by the Iranians to carry out their attacks on their soil. Now let's get you a sense of what does this essentially mean as the escalation has taken place in West Asia, if at all there is an end game. And what's the end game that are we really talking about? First, we'll get you a sense of what's really happening in Tel Aviv. Our reporter Nick is getting us the live reports. But before I go across to Nick, I also have Lieutenant Colonel Jonathan Conricus, who's actually helped us to put together what we just showed right now, the areas that were basically attacked by the IDF. Lieutenant Colonel Jonathan Conricus, thank you very much for joining us on this broadcast. Let me first get you on this. Iranians have already responded by saying that there is no damage. They say that this is completely a hoax on your part. Their defense system has been able to neutralize this attack. And they say that you've violated their territorial integrity and sovereignty. What's the end game here, Lieutenant Colonel Jonathan?
Yes, hello. Thank you for having me. And I think that what you just gave your viewers with the map and the information is a very, very good breakdown of what happened in Iran. Most of those things will not be acknowledged by the Iranian regime. And the only thing that we can infer from the fact that the Iranians are claiming that they thwarted Israeli attacks, the only thing that I make of it, of course, it's a lie, it's factually untrue, but what I make of it is that the Iranians currently do not seek to retaliate and strike back and escalate the situation further. That's the only thing that matters. The Iranians lie every day when they speak, so that wouldn't be something new. And I think that as time will go by and Iranian civilians and journalists and activists will visit these different sites and take footage from him, I think it will be very clear that a lot of damage was indeed made. And really the importance here of what Israel did was a very limited, very restrained Israeli response that was precise against targets of military importance. And the real importance here is that this paves the way for future Israeli attacks that I am sure will come as the situation unfolds more in Western Asia and as Iranian aggression continues in and around Israel.
Also bring in my colleague Nick, who's reporting from us from Tel Aviv. Lieutenant Colonel Jonathan, I'll request you to stay on with us, bear with me on this. Nick, as far as the end objectives, that's the bigger concern right now. Many would say that you've been able to neutralize the leadership of Hamas, to a greater extent of the Hezbollah. So is it time for Israel to basically step back? And perhaps some attempt has also been made by the United States of America with the recent visit of the Secretary of State. What's the sense that you're really getting in from the administration there?
So actually Israel wants that Iran will step back because Israel feels, and for many years already, how Iran trying to destroy Israel via its proxies, Hezbollah, Hamas, Houthis, etc. That's why Israelis see themselves as the ones that defend themselves and trying to send a message to Iran. This is the time for you guys to go back to your country and stop messing with Israel. Because until the revolution in Iran in 79, basically both people were in good relationships. So just because Khomeini got the power over the country, and he got it with a revolution and with a lot of force, just because of that, now those people are in fight. But actually, Israel doesn't want it. It doesn't seek a war with Iran, which is about 2,000 kilometers from its borders. That's why now Israel tries to show to Iranian regime that we can penetrate you, we can strike anything that we want, and probably the next step could be for Israel to try to eliminate and liquidate the leadership of Iran, because the other objectives are more complicated. The oil facilities could spike the prices of oil, and it is bad for the United States, a close ally of Israel, and also for Europe it will be bad. And to try and destroy the nuclear facilities will be really, really difficult, because a lot of them are underground, and it could lead to a big catastrophe in Iran, and also it could start a third world war. So that's why I think the next step for Israel of escalation could be to try and liquidate the leaders of this regime, with hope that the next people that will lead Iran will be much better for their people.
Lieutenant Colonel Jonathan, if I may ask you this, because if there is a greater concern right now, that is, if Israel continues to target the nuclear facilities of Iran, that would basically perhaps up the game, but that would mean extremely dangerous situation in West Asia right now. What is it that the IDF really wants to achieve right now after the attack that we saw? The retaliatory strikes have already happened. So would this mean an end, or you still believe that there could be a retaliation too?
Yes, let's put this into context of the last decades. What we have playing out is an Iranian strategy against Israel, which has been one of indirect warfare, whereby Iran has been building, equipping, and arming and directing various proxies, building a virtual and real ring of fire around Israel, and then having these Iranian proxies, Hamas, Islamic Jihad, Hezbollah, proxies in Syria, proxies in Iraq, and the Houthis in Yemen, attack Israel and sap its force. What I think that we saw yesterday might be that Israel decided to cross the Rubicon of Western Asia and to tell to the Iranians, we are not going to be part of your strategy anymore, and we are now going to hold you personally, physically accountable for your acts of aggression against Israel. The, of course, precursor were the two missile attacks that you spoke about, but when we zoom out and look at the really big picture in the Middle East, I think Israelis are understanding that as long as the Iranian regime exists, Israelis will not have safety. Even if and when we will defeat Hamas and defeat Hezbollah and defeat the Houthis and defeat Palestinian terrorist organizations, at the end of the day, as long as the money is there from the Iranian regime, they will continue to fight and they will continue to challenge the very basic safety of Israelis. And that's something that Israel wants to prevent. I think that we are at the cusp of a new age in the Middle East, whereby Israel, together with the US and with the tacit behind-the-scenes support of various Sunni countries, Saudi Arabia, Emirates, and other countries, is now going to hold the Iranian regime accountable and start a pressure campaign, not only on the IRGC, the Iranian expeditionary force that does terrorist activities, but on the regime itself. It may lead to elimination of Iranian leaders, and I'd like to remind everybody, the Iranians, through Hezbollah, fired a killer drone towards the home of the Israeli Prime Minister, Benjamin Netanyahu. And this happened about a week ago. Thankfully, he and his family were not killed, not wounded, but this was a direct assault on the democratically elected leader of Israel by an Iranian proxy. And as such, in terms of legitimacy, of course, Israel has the legitimacy to strike back at Iranian leaders, but Israel is containing itself and not doing that yet because of American restraints and because of the upcoming very important American elections.
Well, Nick, with regards to the current situation in Israel, there are certain reports suggesting that Tehran might just retaliate. And that's a message that they would also like to send across at this point in time, because at the end of the day, there are two factions emerging even in Iran at this point in time. One looking forward to a retaliation, the other hoping that there would be some sort of a balance in this entire situation. What's the sense that you're really getting right now, at least from the ground?
So it is a sensitive topic, but there were some exchanges of messages between Israel and Iran via different countries, as Russia, the United States, Netherlands, and some other countries. And they trying to frame this conflict in some kind of red lines that no country should cross. And it means basically that Israel and also Iran, they are targeting military targets and no civilians. But the problem is that Israel actually can do it because it has a precise weapons. But Iran couldn't do that because I was personally in a school where one of the ballistic missiles of Iran hit, and just by luck, hundreds of children that celebrated just hours before the Rosh Hashanah, the New Year's Eve, the Jewish New Year's Eve, didn't hurt, and they could all be killed if it could happen just hours after. That's why this kind of exchange of fire is really dangerous. And I think that Israel shows to Iran that our army much better than yours. So maybe it is a time for you to step back and focus on your country and leave Israel alone.
Thank you very much, Nick, for getting us the ground report from Tel Aviv. In fact, Nick would be reporting for Republic TV, getting us live reports in the coming few days too. Thank you very much, Lieutenant Colonel Jonathan. It's always a pleasure having you on Republic TV, getting us a full picture of what's really happening on the ground. Gentlemen, thank you very much as we bring our focus back to what's really happening on the other side too. Ladies and gentlemen, as far as Iran is concerned, Iran has already put out a statement, and they say that their territorial integrity, their sovereignty has been violated by Israel, and in fact has called this a Zionist regime which should be stopped, hoping that the international community will actually step in. Take a look at this detailed report that gives you a sense of what's really happening also in Iran.
Israel carried out precise airstrikes on Iran early Saturday, targeting military sites in the Shia-majority country in retaliation to the deadly missile barrage of October 1st. Flashes were seen over Iranian skies and loud explosions heard as Israel pounded with a series of airstrikes. After launching the retaliatory strikes, the Israeli Defense Forces put out a statement saying that it carried out precise strikes on Iranian military targets.
Right now, the Israel Defense Forces is conducting precise strikes on military targets in Iran. The regime in Iran and its proxies in the region have been relentlessly attacking Israel since October 7th on 7 fronts, including direct attacks from Iranian soil.
Defending the offensive action, the IDF cited repeated Iranian attempts to target the civilian population through its proxies, Hamas and Hezbollah. Israel's response to Iran's missile barrage marked an end to the long-standing practice of avoiding a direct military confrontation. Following the operation, IDF spokesman Rear Admiral Daniel Hagari released a video clip saying that the Israeli airstrikes fulfilled all its military objectives.
I can now confirm that we have concluded the Israeli response to Iran's attack against Israel. We conducted targeted and precise strikes on military targets in Iran, thwarting immediate threats to the State of Israel. The Israel Defense Forces has fulfilled its mission. If the regime in Iran were to make the mistake of beginning a new round of escalation, we will be obligated to respond. Our message is clear. All those who threaten the state of Israel and seek to drag the region into wider escalation will pay a heavy price.
Based on intelligence feed, Israeli fighter jets targeted missile manufacturing facilities where projectiles fired at the Jewish homeland were produced. Meanwhile, the Israeli Foreign Ministry issued a statement confirming that their planes returned to base safely and all the mission objectives were fulfilled. Responding to the Israeli airstrikes, the White House issued a statement warning Tehran against any retaliation. As Israel responds to the missile barrage, it now remains to be seen if better senses prevail and Iran's top clerics and hotheads vow retaliation, risking a further escalation of the conflict.
Let's now also shift to the other battlefront. What's really happening in Russia and Ukraine? In fact, the capital city of Kiev came under heavy attack from Russian drones. Take a look at this report.
One person was killed and several others injured following a Russian drone attack on a multi-story residential building in Ukraine's Kiev. Ukraine's emergency services reported significant damage to several apartments, prompting evacuations. In a swift response, fire crews were dispatched to the site where a fire had broken out on the upper floors of the building due to the strike. The mayor confirmed that approximately 100 people were evacuated from the high-rise after explosions were heard in the national capital. Air defense units were active during an hour-long raid alert, and 2 hours later, another alert was declared for incoming drones. Just yesterday, Russia launched 2 waves of drones targeting the Ukrainian capital, marking the 15th air attack on Kyiv this month. City military administrator Sherry Popko reported that more than a dozen drones were intercepted over the city during the strike, which lasted around 4 hours.
Director, the taste of success.
Welcome back to the channel, viewers. Today we have the exciting new Honda Elevate Apex Edition, a special variant of Honda's popular SUV that's making waves in the automotive market with its unique features and stylish enhancements. This edition is designed to elevate your driving experience. Let's explore what makes the Honda Elevate Apex Edition stand out. Recently launched at a starting price of 12.86 lakh rupees, the Honda Elevate Apex Edition is based on the mid-spec V and VX trims. Now this limited edition brings a fresh twist to the standard model, making it a compelling choice for buyers looking for something special. Talking about the exterior, the Apex Edition features subtle yet striking cosmetic changes. It sports a piano black garnishes with silver accents and side cladding that adds a touch of sophistication. You'll also notice the exclusive Apex badge on the fenders and the tailgate, distinguishing it from the standard Elevate. The overall look is sleek and modern, appealing to those who appreciate refined aesthetics. Now coming to the
It's a nationwide Waqf emergency. Waqf gets active across states. Temple land, farmland, complete grab. Watch The Burning Question tonight at 9 p.m.
QSMTHE, the world's foremost university rankings organizations, have ranked Amity amongst the top 3% universities globally, making it among the very few Indian universities to be included in both rankings. Yet another top ranking for Amity University.
From Asia's largest news headquarters, setting the agenda for Bharat. You're watching Republic.
Thank you for joining us here on Republic TV. You're watching Burning Question. I'm Niranjan. Last evening on Republic TV, we broke the story of the Waqf emergency. A story from Karnataka that we broke last evening of farmers who've been farming in their land for several decades, suddenly asked to vacate, and 15,000 acres overnight in different districts of Karnataka, asked by the district administration, the government that is, the Congress government that is, asking farmers to attach their land, to give their land up to the Waqf board. It appears to be a Waqf emergency, 15,000 acres in Karnataka alone, and hours after we broadcast that story, we're getting in similar stories from Madhya Pradesh, Kerala, Jammu and Kashmir, and we're getting you all those stories on the show this evening, and we're debating it. Here are the headlines on The Burning Question tonight. Centre likely to table the Waqf Amendment Bill in the winter session of Parliament. Even as Waqf declares emergency across India, rushing to acquire as much land as possible. Karnataka, Kerala, Tamil Nadu, Madhya Pradesh, Telangana, different states, one land grab template. Republic investigation exposing the Waqf's land loot as alleged. Israel attacks Iran, 2 killed. IDF identifies launch pads across Iran, warns against retaliation. Meanwhile, Hezbollah responds to the fire with fire, targets Israeli bases. Jaishankar hails Indian military, Indian democracy for the India-China LAC patrolling agreement. Says breakthrough amid very, very unimaginable conditions and deft diplomacy. The pace at which these stories are emerging overnight, there appears to be a Waqf emergency which has gripped the country. No land is safe, it appears, from the Waqf board's audacious land grab attempt as alleged in different states. Temples, villages, government properties even, lands of farmers. Nothing has been spared in the last few days in this unprecedented takeover before that bill is tabled in Parliament. From Kashmir to Karnataka, Maharashtra to Uttar Pradesh, there is an investigation also carried out by Republic TV which is exposing this template of the Waqf to take away land inch by inch, acre by acre. Take a look.
There is nationwide Waqf emergency. After reports from Karnataka of Waqf claiming over 15,000 acres, now Republic investigation shows how other states across India have been facing the same land grab issue. In Kerala, 400 plus acres of land claimed by Waqf and around 600 families in Munambam are at risk.
The sudden claim by the Waqf board that the land between Munambam and Cherai belongs to them, almost 104 acres which is now existing, has caused so much pain to 110 plus residents over here. Shanta is suffering from Parkinson's. 72-year-old Shanta is now living in this very small house, a family of 4, including his son Liju and his wife and kid.
In Jammu, Hindu families living since 1947 have been asked to vacate.
मेरा एक बेटा ही इसकी डेथ हुई है। ये मैं तो बिल्कुल ही रो रही हूँ। मेरा तो कोई आया ही नहीं।
अभी आपको क्या कहा गया उनकी तरफ से वक्फ की?
आप कह रहे हो अर्श पर में जाओ।
यहाँ से जगह खाली कर।
हाँ जी।
In Madhya Pradesh's Bhopal, the Waqf has laid its claim on 47 government buildings.
मेरे पीछे आप जो बिल्डिंग देख रहे हैं ये पुलिस हेडक्वार्टर है, पुलिस मुख्यालय है और वक्फ बोर्ड ये दावा करता है कि ये जो है कब्रिस्तान की ज़मीन पर बना हुआ है और इस पर वक्फ का दावा है। हालांकि ऐसी न सिर्फ पुलिस मुख्यालय बल्कि पुलिस कंट्रोल रूम, इसके अलावा कई सरकारी अस्पताल और कई ऐसी इमारतें जिस पर वक्फ का दावा है जिसके कि कोर्ट में मामले लंबित चल रहे हैं। ऐसी 47 से ज़्यादा प्रॉपर्टीज़ हैं जिनमें ये मामले लंबित हैं।
In the state of Uttar Pradesh in Lucknow, the Waqf claims that a 250-year-old temple belongs to them.
Where 250 years old temple is being claimed by a Waqf board. They are telling it is their property. It's been from 250 years old temple, and the important part is that local residents, they are very aggressive on this. They are telling that they are watching this temple from their childhood. They have heard stories from their forefathers about this temple. Now after 2060, suddenly Waqf board started claiming its own property to that land. That's what local residents are saying. They are telling they are very angry on this. They are very upset with this.
In Maharashtra's Ahmednagar, the iconic Kafinath temple, standing tall for decades, sacred to thousands, is also one of the properties allegedly grabbed by the Waqf board. This historic temple, revered by the Hindu community, has been battling an outrageous takeover bid since 2005.
This is the Kanoba temple, the Kanafnath temple located out here at Guha village, and as far as the Waqf claims are concerned, they say that this is not a temple but a dargah. I just request my video journalist to show how parallelly an attempt to create a dargah is also being made out here by the people out here.
This is an emergency that has claimed the land on which the temple of our democracy stands on, the parliament. Which is why the Waqf Amendment Bill 2024 needs to be passed. Bureau Report, Republic TV.
Okay, joining us on the debate this evening are Sanju Verma, national spokesperson of the BJP, Dushyant Sridhar, a Hindu scholar, joining us live from Bengaluru, Deshrata Nigam, author and RSS thinker. I also have Abdul Razak, who leans towards the Congress party, joining us live from Bengaluru. Syed Aslam, political analyst, joining us live from Bengaluru, and Major Ashish Chaturvedi, a Samajwadi Party leader, joining us live from Lucknow. Last evening when we broke the story, and I'll start with, and I'd like to tell all our viewers, it's a 1 hour debate, and our panelists as well, it's a 1 hour debate, so please don't speak over each other. I promise to give about 30 seconds to 45 seconds opening comments, for you to make opening comments. Don't speak over each other, it's a very heated subject, right? All of you have diverse views, so I'll start with Dushyant Sridhar. Dushyant, what do you make of it? Because last evening we broke the story, it was a story broken by Republic Kannada. Farmers came crying to us, and we broke the story. And farmers essentially here in Karnataka, they've been farming there for almost 60, 70 years. And one fine day, they've been told, shockingly, by the district administration, Tehsildar, the government included, ministers included, instead of fighting for farmers, they're saying, if the documents show the land is not yours, if you don't have documents to prove the land is not yours, then the land belongs to Waqf. Ministers are saying this on record, right? It started with Karnataka and 15,000 acres in different districts. Now there is, I'll just tell you about the instances. There's one in Uttar Pradesh that has come in, right? There's one in Madhya Pradesh today in the last 24 hours, one in Kerala in the last 24 hours, Jammu and Kashmir in the last 24 hours, Delhi. I'd like to go on, but what do you make of it, Dushyant, and then I'll open it up.
Namaskaram Niranjan and namaskaram to all my fellow panelists. To the farmer who was told that his land doesn't belong to him and it allegedly belongs to Waqf board would have been devastating to see the least, Niranjan. And I just can't even fathom what his family would be undergoing. And, if we stay in our own safe cocoons and live in our own bubbles that everything is very safe, then one day probably your house and my house will also be claimed that way. I'm not trying to make a bizarre allegation. Niranjan, one more thing. To the farmer, you can probably say, okay, where are your records? Where are your files? 2 months back, I was very much in the same television channels where a temple which is 1,500 years old of Shiva and Parvati called Tiruchendurai temple in Tamil Nadu with inscriptions of Parantaka Chola of the 8th, 9th and the 10th centuries, which has been sung by the Tamil poet Jnana Sambandar in the 7th century, was claimed by the Waqf board, and then the entire village along with the temple was claimed by the Waqf board. So we are living in tough times. I honestly, I would just like to sympathize because I can't do anything more to the poor farmer. I can only pray for him. I can only pray for his family. I can pray for the other farmers. I would just leave it to the decision of the central government, which has to take strong decisions that doesn't bring injustice to people like these farmers. This is going to be really devastating for them. If the central government doesn't take steps, I'm not sure what purpose does it serve otherwise.
Yeah. I'd like to go across to... Okay, let me get a comment from the other side. Abdul Razak was raising his hand, and then I'll open it up. I'll bring in Sanju Verma as well. Abdul Razak, why would the Waqf want to take away temples? Because, there is this attempt where they've laid claim to 40 acres around the Kanifnath temple, right? In and around the Kanifnath temple in Ahmednagar. They claim that the Waqf, the land belongs to the Dargah. It's a temple, Kanifnath temple. The temple has historical documents with them. Okay? Yep. The temple has proven ownership. It has been recognized by a district court. In 2005 is when all this started suddenly, and now there's an attempt to dismantle the temple and make it, and then take it away, calling it Waqf property. Why would the Waqf want to take over temples now? You know how dangerous that is?
Niranjan, in the entire history, I will challenge you today, show me one place where Waqf board has grabbed somebody's land, where Waqf board has encroached somebody's land, or where Waqf board has looted somebody's land. I will tell you, Niranjan ji, I can give you 68,000 cases where other people have encroached or grabbed or looted Waqf board properties. Now, according to the judicial website, there are 492,000 cases against civilians alleging, encroachment on railway lands, on forest land, on government land. I'm saying this happens everywhere.
Oh.
There will be encroachment.
Okay.
Now the point in question is the land that has been encroached by some farmers in Vijayapura district, where the Waqf board has ordered the Tahsildar to issue notices for the farmers to prove ownership of the land.
Yeah.
They have not given them eviction notice.
Yeah.
We have not said vacate the land.
Yeah.
And the best part is, there are
Tell me.
Muslim farmers as well.
Oh, ho, ho.
Like how the BJP wants to play the Hindu-Muslim card, there are Muslim farmers as well.
Okay.
There are many Muslim farmers who have encroached.
I have very, very patiently heard you.
The Waqf board has issued notices.
Okay. I very patiently heard you. I'll give you your time. I'll actually take it one step forward and I'll toss it to Sanju Verma. I'll take it one step forward. You challenged me, right? I'm challenging you back. Tomorrow, on Republic Kannada, we have a story of the Waqf not just encroaching land, but then taking the encroached land, snatching land and then selling it. You're challenging me, right? You're challenging me, right? You're challenging me, right? I'm throwing the challenge back at you. Wait. Why are you speaking, Syed Aslam? I'm not speaking to you. Syed Aslam, I'm not speaking to you. I'm not speaking to either of you. I'm making a point. Hold on. Why are you getting triggered? Hold on. Hear me out. I said I'll give you time. No, I promised you I'll give you time. I promised you, it's my assurance. Calm down. Take a step back. I'm challenging you that we are breaking that story. I'm challenging you. And I'm going a step forward. Because you said this, I'm handing it to Sanju Verma. Wait. It's not your turn now. It's not your turn now. It's not your turn now. With documents. Sanju Verma, you know, they asked farmers to produce documents. 15 days is the time given to these farmers. 15 days. And some of them have documents from 1960s. RTC revenue documents dating back to 60s and 70s showing their right over the land. I would expect my government, my minister, to fight for the farmer. 15,000 acres. And Congress Minister Zamir Ahmed there is saying, Sanju, I have a soundbite. He's saying, I don't care. So what if it's the farmer? If it's Waqf land, give it to Waqf right now. That's the attitude of a minister on record in Karnataka today.
You know, Niranjan, we are having a very sane and sensible debate. And if you would notice, I have not interrupted any of the panelists even once, and I expect the same decency and courtesy to be extended to me, because I'm going to lay bare some hard facts which are very, very difficult to digest for the other side. You know, Abdul Razak said he can give 68,000 examples of how land has been encroached by Hindus, by civilians, blah, blah, blah. My simple request to him is forget 68,000 cases. If you can give me even 68 examples, I will agree that you really have some logic to your silly arguments which you start spewing every day on national TV. But the moot point is this.
I never used the word Hindu.
You will get your time to speak now, please keep quiet. The Waqf loosely came into existence, Niranjan, way back in 1923. Now, I did some research. In 1923, there were only 3,000. How many? Just 3,000 Waqf properties. Then the Waqf Act was amended in 1934, 1954, 1995, 2013, so on and so forth. Now look at this surprising thing. Surprising and shocking both. From about 3,000 properties in 1923, today as you and me speak, Niranjan, the Waqf has, hear this very carefully, the Waqf has 8.7 lakh properties registered under its name. These 8.7 lakh properties are worth more than 1.2 lakh crore, and these 8.7 lakh properties totally amount to more than 9.4 lakh acres. We are talking of 9.4 lakh acres which has been grabbed by the Waqf. So the first point is that if there was no land grabbing, how did 3,000 properties become 8.7 lakh properties? But beyond statistics and numbers, Niranjan, I just want to say one thing. You know, Zamir Ahmed Khan is the Minority Affairs Minister. I don't expect much from him, and I don't want to sound like a fundamentalist bigot saying that his surname speaks volumes about what is expected of him. But look at MB Patil. MB Patil is the district in charge of Vijaypura. He's the Commerce and Industries Minister. And when asked that, do you agree to what your colleague Zamir Khan is saying about, 15,000 acres being summarily acquired by the Waqf and, trying to completely do away with the rights of farmers. What did MB Patil say? He's the district minister in charge of Vijaypura. He had the same attitude which San Pitroda has. Hua to hua. He He says, I can't do anything, actually this land belonged to a Kabristan. So, the poor farmers have to prove that, this was not a Kabristan and that they actually owned the land. I just want to say one thing. People have been saying land is a central government subject, and that is a lie. Please understand, land, like law and order, is a state subject in India under the 7th schedule of the Constitution. So while the BJP government is bringing in the Waqf amendment bill for discussion in the winter session of Parliament, don't always point fingers at the central government. You have the guts, question the Karnataka state government for its...
I'm going to make a point now. Yeah, I'm going to make a point now. Okay. Today, I have people like Abdul Razak coming here and saying, show me one property that was grabbed, show me one illegality, show me one scam. Right? I'm coming to Syed Aslam. I know you want to speak. This question is to you. Syed Aslam, okay, raise your hand and say, I promise in the name of God that there has been no Waqf land scam in Bangalore/Karnataka/India. The reason I'm asking you this, because I want to refresh your memory, because public memory is short. Let me also tell our viewers, ladies and gentlemen, there was a scam once called the Waqf Board land scam in the state of Karnataka, the great state of Karnataka, where I also come from. And I'll tell you the extent of that scam. Let me tell you the extent of that scam. The extent of that scam, ladies and gentlemen, $24 billion in today's worth, 2,000 billion rupees was... It
was presented by
just
a BJP
calm down. Calm down. Razak, my question is to Aslam. My question is to Aslam. Is your name Aslam? Hold on, your name is Razak.
Niranjan, let's get to the basics.
Yes.
Sanjuji gave logic, her knowledge, whatever homework she has done. Let's get back to the basics. First of all, I need to tell you what is Waqf and who and all can make Waqf. Right. Now, there are 3 types of Waqf. First of all, to let you know, any adult who is sane and who is good with memory, good with sound knowledge, can do a Waqf by transferring the land in the name of God. And this is a non-transferable property. Once a person transfers a property in the name of God for the charitable and religious and pious purposes, it cannot be transferred. Point number 1. Second, Waqf can be done through a will. Third, Waqf can be done through the usage. If a land or a property is used for the religious, charitable purposes for a long time, then the land will be treated as a Waqf land. Now you spoke about somebody selling a Waqf land. It is not possible.
Tomorrow we'll have a debate tomorrow.
Let me speak. Now you don't interrupt me, Niranjan. You have to give.
You know what? I will interrupt when I want to interrupt, but I choose not to interrupt in this moment in the interest of fairness. Yeah, go ahead.
No, I'll give me 30 seconds.
I just said go ahead. Yeah.
Waqf land is non-transferable, Waqf land is inalienable, and it cannot be sold to anybody. Now, coming to the point of whether there is corruption in the Waqf land or any politicians or any people, miscreants who have used this and they have utilized this for corruption, you have to take action against the individuals who are involved in the corruption. I was saying this in one of the channels yesterday, right? We know, according to CRPC section 302, if somebody commits a murder, right, you need to punish the person. You don't change the law. You don't change the law, right? Now, you cannot, if somebody is doing corruption in the name of Waqf land, or somebody is saying that, they have looted in the name of Waqf, that doesn't mean that you will bring in the changes. My only question is, I just have some common points. Now, Babri Masjid and Ram Janmabhoomi, there was a dispute on the faith.
Okay, I've given you extra 30 seconds. You want to hold on to your Ram Mandir? 1 minute. Babri Masjid point you hold on, because because I want to bring in the other speakers. Okay, I want to bring in the other speakers. And you know what? I want to make a point. And I'll go across to Deshratan Nigam. He hasn't spoken yet. I'll come to you. Let me just get the opening comments, Sanju. I'm coming to you. Just make a note of the point so that you don't forget that point. You'll make that point, right? I'm coming across to you. because two more panelists haven't spoken. Major Ashish Chaturvedi also hasn't spoken. My question is to you, Deshrata Nigam. Deshrata Nigam, I'll tell you why they're all very scared right now. They're extremely scared. I'll tell you why. Because there was a report called the Waqf land scam report. Arey, calm down, yaar, Razak. The moment I said, why are you like laughing, smiling, sniggering? Because you know you don't like facts. Listen. It's a report. It is a report, sir. Report. It is a report filed. Calm down. Stay calm.
14 years ago.
Stay calm and listen to the... Why are you so scared of the facts? I told you. I will give you time to speak. It is not your turn to speak. Not your turn to speak.
Not tabled.
Is your name Deshrata Nigam?
Was not tabled.
Is your name Deshrata Nigam?
BJP knew.
Is your name Deshrata Nigam?
RSS puppet.
Is your name Deshrata Nigam? See, Deshrata Nigam. Anwar Manipadi. I'll repeat. Anwar Manipadi was the chairman of the Karnataka State Minorities Commission. Okay? And he, in his report, has alleged that the Waqf board had allowed almost 50% of its land to be misappropriated by politicians and board members in collusion with the real estate mafia. Also, adding to that, recently, this month, on the 16th, he also claimed, allegedly, that Mallikarjun Kharge, the Congress president, was involved in this Waqf land scam. It's an allegation, right? That's not my point. The point is, if it is so clean, as Syed Aslam and all our panelists are trying to say, then why is it when you look at the number of cases that are coming out, and all of them are disputes, right? Look at what they tried to do in Punjab. I'll give you an example, case study. In Punjab, 56% of the 75,511 Waqf properties are disputed. 56% of the cases. Deshrata, you're a lawyer.
Yes. Let me tell you, my opinion is that the Waqf Act has to go lock, stock and barrel. And this is a secular country. Even some of the Islamic countries don't have Waqf boards in their own. And it's a darkest piece of legislation in India, and which has evil consequences for non-Muslims. Even a Muslim user can create a Waqf on neighbor's land or disputed land and no documentation is needed. And there are numerous examples of it pending in court. And secondly, there is a simple modus operandi. This is how apart from, grabbing the private land, first what happens, they start claiming land as Qabristan. Second, creating small dargahs and offering prayers in public lands, which can later be claimed as Waqf land through user. This is the modus operandi, papers on it, and certainly this is how the grabbing of land becomes. What we are doing is we are creating pieces of Gaza in our own country, which may lead to secessionism tomorrow, where exclusive holding of rights, and Waqf board has been given power to, declare anybody's encroacher. They are becoming a judge in their own cause. Tribunal is given the power of civil courts. Waqf board has been given the power of civil courts. And what is the objective of the Waqf Act?
Wow.
To protect and manage the properties. They are not there for justice. To protect and manage the properties of the Waqf. So what justice they will do to civilians? No, they will not. Their job, the objective under the Act is to protect and manage the properties. Waqf board. So there is no justice.
I'll tell you something.
No justice. It is a bias is inherent in the Act itself against non-Muslims.
Sir, Chief,
very serious consequences that we have, and it has to go lock, stock, and barrel, whether BJP does or not.
I want to add on to what you said, Deshrata Nigam. You made a point. You made a point about the modus operandi. I'll tell you what. You made a point about the modus operandi. I want to make a point here because bang on. You said they call it Qabristan. That's stage one, right? Yesterday's case, the story we broke on Republic, right? Major Ashish Chaturvedi, you haven't spoken. You've been calmly sitting there for 25 minutes. I'll let you speak and then I'll get the other responses, right? Look at the case study that we have from Karnataka. 4.2 acres of a farmer called Parshuram. Okay? 4.2 acres. Notice is issued by the Tehsildar, claiming it is Qabristan. Notice states that an ex parte order may be issued in favor of the Waqf board. Tehsildar is saying that an ex parte order may be issued in favor of the Waqf board if Parshuram does not submit documentation proving his ownership of the land. You can't contradict me on that. This is a fact. This is a fact. Exactly. Right? Major Ashish Chaturvedi. 1 minute. 1 minute. 1 minute.
What is wrong in that?
What is wrong in that? What is wrong in that?
Not have land.
15 days time.
If
Wow. Wow, you can go. I mean, wow.
Sir, you don't need 15 days
according to the
display
new
documents.
amendments.
What?
Do you need 15 days to display documents?
You're being unfair to your ally. You're being unfair to your ally. You're being unfair to your ally. You are being unfair to your ally. Major Chaturvedi hasn't even spoken.
And you will have to have documents.
Let him speak. No, don't gag his voice. Yes, Major Chaturvedi.
I think the couple of things need to be a little clarified. I think sentiment is not the basis for the ownership. Whosoever it may be, a farmer, me, you, anyone, you have to have the title of ownership. Because that is how the law works. You know, if I or you, we claim anything, we have to have the ownership. We have to have the title of that. By merely saying that for these number of years, I am, on a certain place, that does not give me the right to own a particular property merely by virtue of me being on that for say said number of years. I think this is very clear and should be, and this is how it works. Secondly, if encroachment from any side, whether it's from Waqf side, if at all, or if it is from any other side, I think the courts are there. One can go there and get relief. Nobody can you might claim for a certain thing, which we have seen there. You have so many civil cases going on in India. There are thousands of lakhs which are pending. Because you have these types of things are there. But then at the end of it, you have to have the title. Yes. Because merely sentimental value cannot be
I agree with you. I agree with you. Very fair point.
For Qabristan or it is for somebody's individual purpose. Yeah. The mere claim cannot be a title to it. You have to have the ownership.
You have a very fair point. You have a very fair point. I'll tell you why. I'll tell you why you have a very fair point. Because my case study 2, I was coming to my second case study. Case study 2 is of a farmer called Ishwarappa Srishail from Karnataka. Case study. On the 5th of October 2024, Major Chaturvedi, farmer Ishwarappa Srishail gets a notice from the administration, Tehsildar, stating that the land could be registered as Waqf property if he does not appear before the Tehsildars and provide relevant documents. And you just made a point that you can't go by sentiment. You're right, you can't go by sentiment. So you know what Ishwarappa Srishail did? He said, I will not go by sentiment. And he asserted that his family had been cultivating that land even before independence. And you know what he did? Because he did not go by sentiment. He took all the revenue records dating back to 1966 to back his ownership claim, and he went and he showed the Tehsildar, and today he's crying. He has revenue records. This is not sentimental, but when people are hounded, farmers are hounded like this, when their families, their generations after generations have been farming there.
No, nobody is hounding the farmers.
Calm down. No. Why are you jumping? Why? I'll tell you. You're sitting in Bangalore. I'm from Bangalore, and we run a channel called Republic Kannada. I have all the facts at my disposal. 1 minute. Calm down. I will tell you.
There can be a mistake.
Oh my God.
There can be a mistake. Of Srishail's case, on one survey number, there are 17 farmers. Notices have been issued to all those 17
Of course,
farmers.
if there are 15,000 acres, obviously you have to go after more property. Yeah.
Not to evict the land.
I was talking about only one farmer.
The land.
1 minute.
Indian land revenue record system is
Sir, hear me out.
On one survey number, there can be many
1 minute. Yeah, I'm coming to you. I'm coming to you. I'm coming to you because my point was that there are documents. And because there are documents, we are more wary and more suspicious of the Waqf intentions. Sanju.
Thank you. Niranjan, Syed Aslam made a very interesting point. He said that the Waqf land cannot be transferred, it cannot be gifted, inherited, bequeathed, that is fine. The same act which has been quoted by Syed Aslam, Section 3 of the Waqf Act of 1995 does say that Waqf land is inalienable, non-transferable. But the same Section 3 of 1995 Waqf Act also makes another very interesting observation, rather a diktat, which says that if the Waqf trust or the Waqif, the man who manages the trust is called the Waqif. If the Waqif decides that XYZ, can I finish, Sayyid Aslam, please? If the Waqif who manages the trust decides that Sanju Verma's residence at Breach Candy in Mumbai belongs to the Waqf, or that Sayyid Aslam ka khud ka ghar belongs to Waqf, or Niranjan's house at Delhi or Karnataka, wherever, or his properties come under the ambit of Waqf, then nothing can be done, because Waqf says we are a law unto ourselves. We are not under the ambit of Indian jurisprudence. I mean, can you imagine if tomorrow a Hindu organization says, भैया ये जमीन तो हमारे मंदिर की जमीन है, यहाँ पर आप जो मुसलमान बसे हुए हो, please lock, stock and barrel vacate this land. यहाँ पर दंगे फसाद हो जाएंगे इंडिया में. And I want to make one very interesting observation. Bear with me.
Can I answer that now?
20 seconds.
Just 1 second. I'll come there.
20 seconds. 20 seconds. The other important point is, once the Waqf land is, denoted as a Waqf land, it cannot be transferred. But the point is that if indeed that is the clause, how is it that Surat Municipal Corporation, large parts of Indira Gandhi International Airport, large parts of India's Parliament building, a 1500-year-old village on the banks of Kaveri River, 2 large districts in Pune and Parbhani, Jindal Sauce factory in Rajasthan, Mukesh Ambani's Antilia, army headquarters at Rajouri and Poonch, a large Sikh Gurudwara at Yamunanagar in Haryana, large parts of land at Banjara Hills in Hyderabad. And
I have to, I have another breaking news update right now.
I need to respond to this.
No, 1 minute. Syed. I have a breaking news. I have a bit of breaking news I want to share with all of you. I kind of suspected, because when I spoke to the reporters at Republic Kannada, right, I was speaking to them to get the full details yesterday, and Abdul Razak also knows. He comes to our studios very often there in Bengaluru, so he knows our team, and we don't do any story, without checking the facts, right? We had, our reporters told us we suspect the intentions also because there is a bipole coming, okay? There's a bipole coming. Wait, calm down. You can disagree, but just listen to me. No, I also have a point to make. The Constitution gives me the right to speak. Okay, so they said there could be a bipole angle to this with elections coming in, because there are some very, very sort of swing seats, right, where the Muslim votes become very critical. Right, there are 3 seats. It's almost like a mini state election there. The mood in Karnataka right now. And to bolster my belief and the belief of what we were reporting yesterday, I have just got a breaking news that the Karnataka government has banned crackers on Diwali. They have banned crackers on Diwali. The Congress government in Karnataka has just banned crackers on Diwali. It is bizarre. It is bizarre. I just heard that green crackers are allowed from 8 to 10 p.m. But they have banned fireworks, crackers on Diwali in Karnataka. This is extremely bizarre. Dushyant Sridhar is sitting in Bengaluru. I want to go across to him and get in his response.
For that, even
1 minute. You calm down. No, 1 minute. They will not do anything. No. 1 minute. You know what? I'm sticking my neck out. Syed Aslam, I'm sticking my neck out and saying this to you. They are very, very, very pro-minority, because they know they have to rely on the Muslim votes to come back to power. I'm sticking my neck out and saying it. My question is to Dushyant. It is truth. It is the truth. You know it. You know it. 1 minute. You know what? I'll tell you one more thing. Because you challenge. No, 1 minute. Listen to me. I'll tell you one more thing. I'll tell you what is so morally wrong for this government. The same minister, the Zamir Ahmad, there's a minority affairs. I don't know what portfolio he holds, right? But I know he's a minority face. This guy, this minister, right? He says, I don't care whose land it is. If they don't have documents, it belongs to the Waqf.
No,
I have the soundbite. Don't challenge me. Okay, I'm playing the soundbite. Play the soundbite now. Play the soundbite. I'm playing the soundbite. You challenge me, right? Listen to this. Producers, let's play the soundbite. Listen to this. Take a look. Actually, you know what? When you play the soundbite, show the faces of Aslam and Abdul Razak. I want to see their faces when the soundbite is played. Play the soundbite. No, play the soundbite. I want to see their faces. Play the soundbite. Play the soundbite. It's okay if it's in Kannada. Play it. I want to see their faces. Play it.
We all know Kannada.
Play it. Listen to it. Listen to it.
करने के बाद हमारे वफ़ के अंदर बहुत से समस्या थे, बहुत से हमारी प्रॉपर्टी के खाते नहीं हुए थे, एनक्रोचमेंट हुआ था.
Not this. Yesterday, there's another soundbite. There is another soundbite. There's another soundbite. It's a daylight. It's a daylight soundbite. Not this one. There's another one. Play that one.
In Kannada.
Yeah. It's in Kannada. It's in Kannada. Play that.
It's in Kannada.
Yeah. Calm down. It's in Kannada. Just play that bite. Play the bite from yesterday.
Your boss is wearing a goggle.
Wait. Calm down. I'll tell you what. Why you so? I play the. Okay. Wait. One second. While I pull out that bite, it's yesterday's soundbite. Producers, let's pull out that soundbite. Okay, in 20 seconds. I've been told in 20 seconds they're pulling the soundbite. You know what this guy did, Dushyant? Dushyant is raising his hand. You know what Zabir Ahmed did? They sent him to campaign. Syed Aslam, calm down. I haven't played the bite. I'm not moving on. I'm not moving on and I'm not running away. I'm not moving on. I'm not running away. Wait. No, wait. Let me make my point. Don't try and stop me. Dushyant, this Zamir Ahmed was sent to Rajasthan for the elections. Okay? He campaigns in Rajasthan in a closed door event which was not supposed to be on camera, and he tells the Muslim community, right? He says, "Dekha humne kya?" He's addressing the Muslim community leaders, right? Maulvis. He's talking to them, and he says, "Dekho humne Karnataka mein kya kamal kar diya." And he says, we went to every mosque, we went to every area, constituency wise planning happened so that they voted en masse. They voted as a bloc to ensure the Congress comes back to power. He said it. It's on record. We broke that story. I have that video. I can send a link to everybody. Right?
You should also show what Amit Shah said walking into the
No. You're not getting the larger context. You're not Dushyant Sridhar. You're not Dushyant Sridhar. Wait. You're not Dushyant Sridhar. Your name is not Dushyant Sridhar. Wait.
You should show this.
Wait. Your name is not Dushyant Sridhar. My question is to Dushyant Sridhar. I was on the point.
You should show this.
Calm down. It's a debate. Calm down. My point was on the extent to which appeasement can happen. Dushyant, after Dushyant speaks, I'm going to play that soundbite. Yes, Dushyant.
Niranjan, very quickly, there has to be fair chance for the other panelists to also speak. I'll just make two quick points. One, you asked about the cracker, and second, about the Waqf board. Now, the problem is, which problem do I choose? The minor problem is now the crackers, because for the crackers to be burst, I need to own a piece of land. So that's a bigger point now. Coming to the Waqf board, I'm just quoting what the federal says. Abdul Rahman, the head of the Tamil Nadu Waqf board, says, I'm quoting the federal, the entire village of Tiruchendurai would measure up to 800 to 900 acres, and the Waqf property covers about 480 acres. The 1,500-year-old temple is on Waqf property. There is no harm in having a temple on Waqf land. This is what he says. Now my point is, a temple which has got the inscription of Parantaka Chola, a temple that has been sung in the 7th and the 6th century, which is born 150 years before the religion Islam is born, is now today being claimed as being on Waqf land. I just can't understand which logic on this earth ever say a 1,500-year-old temple of Tiruchendurai in Tamil Nadu is on Waqf land. Can somebody explain the logic to me?
Which of you?
No, which of you? Razak, you want to explain the logic? Explain the logic. No, explain the logic, Razak. Explain the logic. We want to hear from you.
Explain the logic.
Explain.
Please don't mislead the people of this country.
About what?
You know what they say? 3,000 properties in 1923. I'm saying about the Chola Mandir that my friend is talking. Sir, nobody did a survey of that land. Nobody said exactly that land where the temple stands. You yourself clarified right now. Of the so many acres, only 480 acres belongs to the Waqf board. So who did the survey? You sitting here, you are confusing the people.
You're lying, Razak.
The land on which the
Razak, you're lying. Razak, you're lying.
Who did the survey? Who did the survey? Did anybody survey the land?
Razak, you're lying.
Did anybody?
Razak, you're lying. Razak, you're lying.
No.
You're lying, Razak.
I don't lie. I'm talking facts.
No, even he's made a point. They've laid claim to the temple land. They've laid claim to the temple land.
Today we are 140 crore. In 1923 we were just 15 crore.
I want to come in here.
Today we are 140 crore.
Niranjan.
Sir, please, you don't mislead the people of this.
Nobody is misleading. I think you're running away from the question, Sanju.
Work by user.
Sanju.
Anybody will go.
Sanju, 1 minute. Sanju.
Unless we have valid documents.
I want to go back to Major Chaturvedi also and Deshota Nigam. Sanju.
Valid documents to support our claim. We don't.
No, 1 minute, wait, yaar.
We don't
1 minute.
say it is work plan.
1 minute.
Unless we have valid documents.
We'll see. Sanju.
You know, Niranjan, I want to draw your attention back to this fact that you said, crackers have been banned in Karnataka in Diwali, barring green crackers. You know, that is also linked to this entire Waqf debate. I mean, we all know, you don't need to have, the genius of a rocket scientist to know that Congress engages with rabid impunity in Muslim appeasement. And specifically speaking of Zamir Ahmad Khan, the Waqf and Minority Affairs Minister in Karnataka, do you remember that incident in November 2023? Niranjan, you follow Karnataka politics so closely.
Yes.
What did Zamir Ahmad Khan say? He said the best point of Congress's victory in Karnataka is that today BJP MLAs have to, with folded hands, say namaskar
to the speaker.
To our speaker UT Khadar, who is a Muslim. And do you remember what were the 3 big steps that the Siddaramaiah government took immediately within 2 weeks of taking oath? It first said that, we don't care about what the Karnataka High Court said while the court is, still waiting to give its final verdict in the hijab case. You can wear hijab in flagrant violation of the Karnataka High Court judgment. Then it said that the right to freedom of religion bill of 2022, which the BJP was keen on bringing in to curb forcible conversions, it revoked that. And the third and most important thing is that for a murder of a 20-year-old girl like Neha Hiramat, which was a clear case of love jihad, a JP Nadda went and visited the family. But Rahul Gandhi, who has an opinion on everything under the sun, refused to even shed crocodile tears. That is as rabid as you can get when it comes to appeasing your Muslim vote bank, especially in a state like Karnataka.
You know the irony.
Because it is one of the few states where the Congress is in power. My simple point is this. Why did you do away with the right to freedom of religion bill? Why did you ask college-going students to once again start wearing hijab when you know that the case is pending before a larger Supreme Court bench and the verdict is yet to be given? एक तरफ आप कहते हो, अरे लोकतंत्र खतरे में है. We are the, beacons of all that is good and well in democracy. हम संविधान बचाने आए हैं, गणतंत्र बचाने आए हैं. संविधान की लाल किताब को आप दिखाते हो at every conceivable opportunity in parliament. संविधान में विश्वास है तो फिर हिजाब कि कर्नाटका हाई कोर्ट की जज
now I'll tell you. You just made a point. Razak made a point, and Tausif is joining us late. 1 minute. Razak, some respect. 1 minute. Tausif is joining us late. I just want to get in a word. He's joining us at 44. Let me be fair and get in a word from him. Tausif, see, it's getting really bizarre. I mean, we were on this point in Tamil Nadu, and Dushyant Sridhar here made a very, very valid point of the Waqf board claiming ownership of an entire village, which includes a temple, right? Tiruchendurai in Tiruchirappalli district, they laid claim to an entire village where there is a 1,500-year-old temple. There's a 1,500-year-old temple in that village, right? And there are bizarre cases, right? There are bizarre cases where, there was one lunatic, I think I'm using the right word for him, who laid claim to the Vidhana Sauda. Razak would know, to the Vidhana Sauda, the secretariat in Karnataka. I mean, there are people laying claim to the parliament land in Delhi. And there is the Waqf board is
authorities, Niranjan.
Sorry?
Niranjan, they are not authorities.
1 minute.
Qutub Minar was said it is Vishnu's son.
Arey, 1 minute. Arey, 1 minute.
Can you repeat the same thing?
No, I won't. My question is to Tausif. No, my question is to Tausif. Arey, hold on. Syed Aslam and Razak, be fair to Tausif. He's joining us late.
Allow me to answer.
Question is Tausif, these bizarre claims. The claims are getting more and more bizarre.
Allow me to answer.
Yes.
Yes. Question the Qutub Minar, the Taj Mahal, you don't say that.
No, there's nothing bizarre. Why do you think it is bizarre? No. The fact that one person owned the entire village, how is that bizarre? There were wealthy Muslims then. who had donated or who had dedicated the entire land, and which was in the size of an entire village. There's nothing bizarre about it. You were saying that Vidhan Sauda of Karnataka is a bizarre. What about the Governor House of Bengal? That also is a Waqf on Waqf land. So, in yesteryear, there were Muslims, wealthy, rich Muslims who had huge land, and they dedicated these lands for charitable and religious purposes, and that is why the Waqf was created.
Okay.
And any land which is dedicated to Allah as a Waqf remains Waqf forever. The nature of ownership lies with Allah, and no one can take away that ownership.
One minute. No, 1 minute. Sanju, 1 second. Sanju, 1 second.
Recognized by the Indian law.
Sanju, 1 second.
Recognized by the
No, 1 second. It's his opening comment.
Some people may not be comfortable with that. Sanghis will not be comfortable with that.
Okay, 1 minute. I'll tell you. 1 minute. Tawseef, I have a rebut. 1 minute. Sanju, 1 second. Sanju, don't say anything. 1 minute. I have a counter for him. No, I have a counter for him.
Not on any land which has not been dedicated.
I have a counter for him. You're okay, fine. I respect. Okay, you have a set of beliefs. I respect that. Right? I respect that. In the Islam religion, that is what you consider valid. It's your wish. It is your belief. It's okay. Right? It's okay. I'll tell you where my problem is. You said there is nothing wrong in staking claim to an entire village. Let me just simply... Wait. Hear me. I heard your logic. There were rich zamindars in the past. I heard your logic. But this is where the logic gets you into deep trouble. Because Islam is 1,400 years old. Islam as a religion is 1,400 years old. Hear me calmly. I'm speaking calmly. Hear me calmly. Islam is a 1,400-year-old religion. But the village that the Waqf board is taking claim to, in Tiruchendurai, an entire village, that temple itself is 1,500 years old, and it is older than the Islam religion, sir.
480 acres.
Oh my God! Please don't distort the facts. Don't distort the facts, Razak.
Exact property.
Razak,
who did not survey the land?
Razak, facts can be very, very uncomfortable. I'll tell you.
480 acres.
See,
no.
I just need to respond
Which
to Sanjuji. Quick 30 seconds.
You're misleading people.
Niranjan, can I have quick 30 seconds?
He's such a... Razak, I'm calling you a liar on the debate because the Waqf board has staked claim to the temple as well. To the temple as well.
Not exactly that.
Yes, it is.
Not exactly.
It
Please
is.
check.
It is.
Please check.
Check it.
480 acres in that village.
No.
Tiruchendurai.
1,500-year-old temple as well. No.
480 acres.
No.
Sir, go and survey the land.
A quick comment here.
Unless the Waqf board has valid documents, they will not say.
Okay, Sanju, quick comment because I want to go across to Major Chaturvedi and Deshratham also. They've just spoken once. Yeah.
Niranjan, you didn't even ask. You didn't allow me to respond to Sanju.
You've been responding non-stop here. Hold on. Two other panelists have spoken just once. They're the best behaved panelists. Deshrathan and Major Chaturvedi.
You don't even allow us to respond to Sanjuji and again.
How much will you? Okay, see. Hold on.
Can I just come in?
Yes, go ahead.
Thank you. Niranjan, there is one thing which Tawseef, Abdul Razak and Syed Aslam said. There is one common thing that each of them mentioned. They said that the Waqf properties are basically meant for engaging in charitable activities, opening schools, colleges, etc. मैं एक सवाल पूछना चाहती हूँ. If today you ask me, because this question comes up often in debates, though Deshrathan Nigam is the more relevant person to answer this. How many schools are run by Vidya Bharati Shishu Mandir? I can easily tell you that number is more than 17,000 with more than 4.2 million people, particularly tribal girls who are given education. If I ask you, out of the 8.7 lakh Waqf properties amounting to more than 9.4 lakh acres, can you tell me how many schools you have opened under Waqf How many colleges you've opened under Waqf?
Okay.
How many Dalits are being educated by the Waqf Trust? How many tribals are being educated by the Waqf Trust? How many hospitals have you opened under the Waqf Trust?
Okay, I'm afraid we'll have to leave. I'm afraid we'll have to leave our viewers with that thought because I have exactly 1 minute. I've run out of time, but I'm stretching it. Deshwata Nigam 30 seconds and Major Chaturvedi 30 seconds because you all have spoken the least. Yes.
Well, Niranjan, in fact, to give you more examples, Delhi High Court is being claimed as Waqf land. Central Vista, CGO complex, Jawaharlal Nehru Stadium, Taj Mahal was registered as a Waqf property where Supreme Court is stated. And therefore, I think it's high time.
Even
high time we should be applying our mind and tell these people, the ones who are jumping around on your debate, they have to realize that this act will have to go one day or the other.
Yeah. Tomorrow they'll come and say even your studio is Waqf property. Yeah, Major Chaturvedi. Major Chaturvedi. Major Chaturvedi. No, 1 minute. Major Chaturvedi. I don't have time. Major Chaturvedi. Don't be unfair to him. Don't be unfair to him.
Cannot implement.
Major Chaturvedi, I want him to speak, please. Last word. 30 seconds. Yeah. 30 seconds. Yeah.
I think whatever claims are being made by people should also be supported by the relevant documents which I earlier mentioned. Not only the others, but the Waqf Board should also come up with its own, when it takes claim to a certain property, it should also give the proof that why it is claiming a certain property. It should also give the proof and then only put forward those.
That's the first time I've heard Samajwadi Party say that even Waqf should show documentation to prove the ownership. Great point. That is a Samajwadi Party spokesperson saying.
Exactly. Waqf by user requires no documents.
Yes,
Waqf by user requires no documents to be shown.
Absolutely. Okay, well, thank you very much. We feel that this debate is going to... Syed Aslam, you spoke the most today. Sanju, Dushyant, Deshwatanji, Abdul Razak, Tawseef, Syed Aslam, Major Chaturvedi, thank you very much for joining us on The Burning Question. Thank you.
QS&T achieved the world's foremost university rankings. Organizations have ranked Amity amongst the top 3% universities globally, making it among the very few Indian universities to be included in both rankings. Yet another top ranking for Amity University.
ಆಸ್ತಿ ಇದ್ರೆ ತಾನೇ ನೋಟಿಸ್ ಕೊಡೋದು, ಸುಮ್ಗೆ ಏನಕ್ಕೆ ಕೊಡ್ತಾರೆ? ರೈತರ ಜಮೀನು ಇರಲಿ, ಯಾವನ ಇರಲಿ, ಸರ್ಕಾರ ಇರಲಿ, ಒಂದು ನಿಮಿಷ ಬಾಸು, ಯಾರನ್ನ ಇಲ್ಲಿ ರೈತರಿರಲಿ, ಯಾರನ್ನ ಇರಲಿ, ಸರ್ಕಾರ ಇರಲಿ, ಈಗ ವಫ್ ಆಸ್ತಿ ಇದ್ದು ಗೆಜೆಟ್ ಆದ್ರೆ ಮಾತ್ರ ನಮ್ಮ ಆಸ್ತಿ ಅಂತ ಕ್ಲೈಮ್ ಮಾಡ್ಬೇಕು ತಾನೆ. ಇದು ವಫ್ ಆಸ್ತಿ ಅಂದ್ರೆ ಯಾರ್ದು? ಲೀಗಲ್ ಆಗಿ ಫೈಟ್ ಮಾಡ್ತಾರೆ. ಯಾರನ್ನ ಇಲ್ಲಿ, ಯಾರನ್ನ ಈಗ ನಿಮ್ಮ ಆಸ್ತಿಗೆ ನಾನು ಕೂತ್ಕೊಂಡ್ರೆ ನೀವು ಬಿಡ್ತೀರಾ? ಒಂದು ನಿಮಿಷ, ಎನಿಬಡಿ ಬಾಸ್, ನಾನು ಹೇಳೋದು ಲೀಗಲ್ ಆಗಿದ್ರೆ ತಾನೆ. ಈಗ ವಫ್ ಆಸ್ತಿ ಇದ್ರೆ ವಫ್ ಆಸ್ತಿ ಅಂತ ಬೇರೆ ನ್ಯಾಯಾಲಯದಲ್ಲಿ.
Director, the taste of success.
QS&T achieved. The world's foremost university rankings organizations have ranked Amity amongst the top 3% universities globally, making it among the very few Indian universities to be included in both rankings. Yet another top ranking for Amity University.
Nationwide emergency over Waqf, arbitrarily claiming lands after Karnataka, now Madhya Pradesh, Uttar Pradesh, Maharashtra, Jammu, Kerala report similar cases. A day after disengagement in Depsong and Demchok, Jaishankar credits military diplomacy for India-China LAC breakthrough. Amid back-to-back hoax bomb threats to airlines, IT Ministry issues strict guidelines for social media platforms.
हिंदू समाज की एकता ये संघ के जीवन व्रत है। हम इसका आग्रहपूर्वक कहेंगे और उसके लिए करेंगे भी। और हिंदू एकता लोक कल्याण के लिए है। हिंदू सबके लिए सुख प्रदान करेगा।
General Secretary of the RSS, Dattatreya Hosabale, backs for Hindu unity, says there are efforts to divide Hindus. Israel pounds Iranian military targets. Meanwhile, India reiterates call for restraint after Israeli strikes on Iran. A very good evening, viewers. You're watching Republic TV. I'm Deepak Suresh Kumar. First up, yesterday we told you about how the Waqf board has planned to usurp farmers' land in Congress-ruled Karnataka. A similar story has unfolded up north in Uttar Pradesh as well. It is being alleged that the Waqf board, which calls itself the custodian of land and properties which it claims were donated for philanthropic ends, has laid claim to multiple plots and properties in Lucknow, including a temple dedicated to the worship of Lord Shiva.
After farmers in Karnataka alleged pressure from the local administration to register land with the Waqf board, a similar story has come to light in Uttar Pradesh. It is alleged that the Waqf has claimed multiple land chunks and properties in Lucknow. According to sources, the properties for which the Waqf is claiming ownership rights includes a Hindu temple. The Lal Shivalaya Kubre Baba temple is situated in Lucknow's Sadatganj Mamala. Locals have claimed the temple, which has been in existence for more than 250 years, is now on the radar of the body that calls itself the custodian of land and properties donated by the Muslim Brethren for charity.
It's a very surprising story in Lucknow where 250 years old temple is being claimed by a Waqf board. They are telling it is their property. It's been from 250 years old temple, and the important part is that local residents, they are very aggressive on this. They are telling that they are watching this temple from their childhood. They have heard stories from their forefathers about this temple. There used to be a Kubre Baba who used to do worship over there. He established that temple. That's the story we are getting from the local resident. But now after 2060, suddenly the Waqf board started claiming its own property to that land. That's what local residents are saying. They are telling they're very angry on this. They are very upset with this. And even the important most part is that the Muslim family who went against Waqf board to the court to establish that's not a Waqf board's property, but it's a property of Hindu temple. They are fighting this case against Waqf board. So this is a very surprising story happened against the Waqf board in Uttar Pradesh.
Locals allege that the plot on which the temple stands was sold to departed gangster turned politician Mukhtar Ansari's wife Afsa Ansari in 2016. They claimed some plotting activity was carried out after the transfer of land, but the matter has since been in court pending arbitration.
ये तो सिर्फ शिवालय का ही मंदिर है।
आप बताएं, आप क्या कहेंगे इसके लिए?
ये बहुत पूर्वजों की तरफ से हमारे चला आ रहा है मंदिर, और इसमें वक्फ का कोई सवाल ही नहीं उठता है। हमको तो ये मैम सर अभी कल ही मालूम हुआ, मोहल्ले वाले बता रहे वक्फ है वक्फ है। वक्फ कुछ नहीं है, जिंदगी भर से देख रहा हूँ मंदिर में पूजा हो रही है, पूजा पाठ होती है, कोई भी त्योहार होता है, सब इसमें 5-6 मंदिर बने हुए हैं सब, भैरव जी का मंदिर, काली जी का मंदिर, दुर्गा जी का मंदिर, हनुमान जी का मंदिर, इतने मंदिर हैं। हम अपने बचपनों से देख रहे हैं, मेरे बाप दादा देखते आ रहे हैं, बाबा तक की हमारे बाप यहाँ आते थे जब बैठते थे, भंडारा होता था। मैं बचपन में इसमें भंडारा खाया हूँ। ये कोई वक्फ की संपत्ति नहीं है, हिंदू समाज की धार्मिक संपत्ति है।
Earlier, your channel had exposed a potential land grab by the Waqf in Karnataka after several farmers alleged pressure to give up land they had rightfully owned and tilled for generations. Amid the Waqf's bid to lay claim to properties on a whim, the anxious question crossing several minds is, what's next on their radar?
Well, it's not just a story in Lucknow, viewers. Even in Jammu as well, there is Waqf land grab that's happening. In fact, one family has also said that now Waqf claims that the land that they are living on since decades belongs to the board.
The Waqf terror seems to be spreading fast. After alleged land grab attempts by the Waqf